only. I would like to start a little series, and I'm going to make a regular schedule as far as uploading videos, but I'm not saying this is going to be a weekly thing. However, I am going to do one public live stream weekly like this, and then I'm going to do two that are members only. I'm going to start that consistently this coming week, starting tomorrow, Monday, it's August 5th. I'm sorry, listen to me, October 5th, August. I really want to start a regular schedule so you all know when and where to find me. And yeah, just be a lot more cohesive and start doing some regular subject matter on top of the regular scheduling. So I titled this, and I struggled so much with the title. I do that a lot. Maybe one day I can like pay somebody to help me write titles. But I put antidote number one because I want to start doing some antidotes. And what I mean by that is to be a voice against some of what I consider to be harmful rhetoric. And I don't mean that like just purely harmful as in it is misogynistic towards women. I mean it is harmful as it is unproductive for the men that indulge in it. And some women do too, but really it's like the red pill manosphere. Tony, hey, that's so cool. You're the first one in here tonight, Tony. Tony said, "Hey Lydia, I hope you have been well. I missed the last live and I gotta drive now, but I will be around if you're still on after or for sure next live." Okay, Tony, cool. I would love to hear your input on this. Like stay safe and have a good drive and be careful and everything. But this is a subject that the last live somebody brought this up, but it's something that I've heard so much in the red pill community. So it's a common sentiment in the red pill space. And like for years now, I've heard the same thing being repeated over and over. And it's like, it's easy to be like, okay, that's just like the chronically online individuals, right? Like what some people might say, like the people that are jobless and live in basements. I don't believe in, making fun of people that are at their lowest, and, like, I really do think, like, that's what I'm saying, it's unproductive when men need help, it is just causing them to get in a rut and, like, stay in there and, like, cause this victimhood mindset that's what they think a lot of women do, because women do it, but that's what they fault women for, like, they play the victim, they think they're just, like, the victim to everything in their life, but that's what this red pill rhetoric is doing to men. And like it's completely fine to be like, this didn't work out for me. I'm gonna like go my own way. That's it's a whole other thing, own other topic. But to be so incredibly hateful towards women, and what I was gonna say was this sentiment is that men built all of society and they could just like pull out the rug from the rest of us. Like I've heard this so many times. Men run all the infrastructure jobs, all the most difficult jobs, and I'm not gonna negate that. Like men definitely do. I saw this news story where there was a sinkhole and there was like this two-story ladder put down into the sinkhole. And like my first thought was like, God bless the man that put that ladder there and had to climb down in that sinkhole to fix the broken water line that caused the sinkhole in the first place. Like, of course, like we all are so thankful when our power goes out and we know there's linemen out there working in all sorts of weather conditions, right? To like put our power back on to save lives. Like people like can lose their life when not having power for a number of reasons. And then like it's this attitude that these people who are already mad and nihilistic want to bring up. It really like I know some of these men are hardworking themselves. Like I get it. Some of them are. I've seen this one guy I watch on a regular basis. He's a roofer. Overall, he's a positive person, but he's had this stuff in his content that's like women need to beware. Men are fed up with the system, and like we're gonna take it all down with us. Like what? Like because it's insinuating like women are the reasons why everything is the way that it is, and like they could be completely fine, without us. And we want to talk about basic infrastructure. Okay, I will give you that. I don't know how to comment in my own live chat. Isn't that funny? How do I make a comment? I was going to make a comment and pin it, but I'm gonna say hi to everybody and get into my notes. I have like a few pages of notes. I really hope that you hear me out on this. Like, this is so common for people to be like, men run all of society, and therefore, like, they could take it all down. Women aren't important. It is implying that women simply aren't important. Never mind women birth. every single member of society, but that's never counted as something important, even though they want to say a woman's only role is or should be to be a mother and wife. And I think it's great when a woman dedicates her life to motherhood. I really do. And there's a lot that, like, you might assume that I agree with a lot of left leaning people when it comes to certain things because of the way I talk about things right now. But like, I don't agree with, like, there's a sentiment going on that women should get paid to be stay at home moms. Like, don't stay at home unless that man can pay you. Like, I understand it's nice to have a savings, but like, I think it's absolutely ridiculous to expect a man who's providing for you to pay you a wage. And we need to get over that. Like, it is a privilege, but it's not something like when they add up like a stay-at-home mom does teaching this and that. And then they put in the full year salary for each one of those professionals. It's like, come on, let's be real. I understand with the thought process of like women do multitask and stay-at-home dads too. Don't get me wrong, there are stay-at-home dads, right? It is a hard, difficult job that requires a lot of multitasking, but it is a privilege. If you have the finances and you have the spouse and the support system to be able to do it, like you should absolutely like see that for what it is, and people should honor it for the work that it is at the same time, like how important it is and how children do fare better when they are at home in the most formative years. And it's just like the snake eating itself. They say certain things. I don't understand where they are going with this, and I need to get into my notes. In a live where typical trolls come in to point the finger at the monolith that is women, because literally all women are like the same monolithic being in these communities. And it's like Trump derangement syndrome, but with misogyny. It's female derangement syndrome. It really truly is. They act the same way that people on the left do about Trump, but it's about women. Like absolutely everything that could ever go wrong in anybody's life was a woman's fault. And there was somebody that came into my last live and said that because I was talking about, and this was in response to somebody talking about like how women are less than men, because I don't like making it about men versus women. I really sincerely don't. But if you want to try to talk about like how horrible women are, it's like there's problems with men. There's a million men out of work, able-bodied men that should be in the workforce that aren't. Less men are getting college degrees. At this rate, with this trajectory, there's going to be as many women and then there's going to be more women in the workforce. So this whole rhetoric of like we need us so bad because we do all the hard jobs. It's like with technology and everything, like there are so many women that are doing such hard jobs. And I was talking about it's like women are getting higher education degrees. No, I'm not talking about gender studies, I'm talking about higher earning, higher education degrees. Women are attaining more of those than men are. I don't take pleasure in saying that. I have three sons. I really don't say that like nana nana boo boo, we're better than you. I mean that with all my heart. I think we're here to work together. We're here to live together, work together. It's hard to survive. Life is hard. And a lot of us are really spoiled, especially in the US of A. And we've like lost sight of like how blessed we are. And if um yeah, it's victim mentality that's going on with so I was saying women are doing better overall than men and statistically in every way. And if the same things were turned around, and all the men would be saying the same things, like what's going on with this? I'm like, and somebody that's a regular in my chat said, well, and he did say, with all due respect, to give him credit, with all due respect, men could take away their labor and energy, and none of those women would have any of that. Implying like a woman's hard work to get a degree or to get wherever she has at in life is like not ever going to be the same amount of hard work because of what's between her legs? Like, I don't understand how a man can sit around and think these thoughts without being a total misogynist. And that is what is so scary. That the misogyny is so real and women do it too. That's one of the biggest detriments we have. That's one of the things that makes women so shitty. The reason why you guys can't stand the modern woman, as it's called in the red pill communities, it's because of this. And it's like, um, so this person came in and said, yeah, I responded, there isn't a female loneliness epidemic, although we are opting out of dating and marrying at just the same rate. And less men work overall. Women are doing better statistically and educationally and own more homes. Like single women own more homes than their single male counterparts. And once again, as a mother of three sons, I really don't respect, I, goodness. I don't like feel take pleasure in saying that men are doing worse than women overall, and like most statistical measures that somebody would say shows what somebody's doing in life. I'm sorry, I'm a mess right now. Um, so women wouldn't be thriving. That's what he said. Women wouldn't be thriving if men just took away their energy and attention. Like to have that kind of attitude and not see the world, like we do all need each other. Women are 77% of nurses and healthcare professionals and educators. Absolutely. If like women just decided to leave the workforce, like you never hear the most radical of feminists talking like this. It really shows the mentality, and it's so unhealthy. And I had to talk with my husband about it. I'm like, can you help me understand it all? Like where this mindset is coming from, that like men could take it all away from us because they do way more than us. And he like, no, like I really can't. I've never sat around and thought thoughts like that. And like, I'm like, if you were never a dad or a husband and found it to be difficult to get a partner, do you think you might? And he's like, well, yeah. Okay, so I'm not making fun of that, but it's like these poor young people have nothing to look forward to. And I totally empathize with the fact that they're going to have a harder time in the dating marketplace, but they're not helping themselves walking around saying stuff like this. If you are a man and you want any chance at getting with a woman, you really need to unpack this. And I'm not saying don't speak your mind, like tell people who you are. But if you really do sincerely believe that women shouldn't be able to vote, women like would not be thriving and getting college degrees if it wasn't for the man like putting that ladder in the sinkhole. Like I don't get this mentality. We all need each other, and we all do you earn thing. Like nobody is just handed anything in life. And these men that think that because a woman is pretty their life is easier, it's just because you give so much of your own attention and energy to those pretty women that's not deserving. Like if you could stop doing that, the whole world would be a better place. If you could like keep your money to yourself and not like you turn into jelly around like any attractive woman. That's like part of the plan was to brainwash people to get them to be so they're just spineless. And a lot of it is the way that we treat adult media and how people treat women as a result of that. Women are looked at as a literal object. When men see women, the part in their brain lights up as if they saw a tool. And that's so obvious. Like that's what is going on with these men that think you shouldn't be able to vote, and you just like don't have anything to do with society. It's basically at the heart of it, misogyny is being jealous of the fact that women give life. Women have inherent value for the fact that they can give life, not just our youthful beauty, that's something too, but like, don't get me wrong. But like, what really comes with that youthful beauty that is so like important is how we give life. And that is why, I hate to say it, but like men's lives were considered expendable in so many ways, like out in the battlefield and everything. And that has kind of carried over into like, well, if you can't prove your worth, if you can't earn your worth here on this planet, then you're not worthy of respect. And in this late stage capitalism, I really feel for men. I sincerely, with all my heart, feel, especially for the younger men. Oh my gosh, especially for the younger generation of men, that like you can't easily win. It's harder and harder to climb up the economic ladder. And like men, yeah, you used to be able to, and same thing for women too, right? But like at least women still have the ability to have the like inherent worth. With men, they just it's life is so much harder for them, but it's not feminism's fault. And it's only going to be harder for them, especially if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, walking around thinking it's feminism's fault. I saw the most interesting comment that a man said he's been teaching for 30 years. The first 20 years, he taught from 1991 to 2021. The first 10, I'm sorry, 20 years, boys talked glowingly about their mothers. They were like, "Oh, my mom does so much for me. I love my mom so much." The last 10 years of his teaching, so like 2011 to 2021, this teacher said that boys started to say things like, "My mom, I'm such a problem. My mom makes me feel like I'm such a bother. She doesn't want anything to do with me." And that really struck me. Like, social media has absolutely damaged women. Like, I'd like to think not to a point of no return because there's like plenty of areas in our country, like Kentucky and Alaska, where the internet isn't even that available in a lot of regions. Of course, like the data on your phone is usually available, but there's plenty of women that don't participate in social media and don't like. vie off of that attention with social media. And and then at the same time, it's one of the most common ways to meet people. So it's like there's just all these like it's so exceedingly difficult, but it's not women's fault because now we can have bank accounts and within 50 years of having all the same rights, essentially within 50 years of being equal in a legal sense, women are not only catching up, but they're surpassing men. And instead of looking that in the face and seeing it for what it is and being like, wow, in my opinion, women have, you think this isn't true, but as somebody who struggled with health issues her whole life, a lot of women face a lot of adversity. A lot of women face a lot of adversity every single month, and they go through hell every single month. And it's like, you guys don't ever spend time with any woman. And if you do, I don't really, like it's this taboo thing to talk about, and I've said this a lot. If men bled upwards of a week every single month of their most of their adult lives, we would have like period stations and everywhere you go. Like it would be so common and like I don't even want to think about the way they'd probably joke around with their like bloody tampons with each other and stuff. I'm sorry, I know that's gross, but like there's just so much to be said about like what women go through. We mask things, and that's another reason why we can be psychologically manipulative. And like I think it's like must be really hard for a man to deal with a woman. And like if she is a bad woman, she can mask that. In my opinion, I think maybe easier than the average like bad sociopathic man. In my opinion, like it's just like, and not to diagnose people, but I really didn't even, like, do a good job with this. It's like, I don't wanna say it like, it's something that I feel like was a good way to kick off this antidote. I wanna start the series where it's like once a week, we're bringing up something that's like this common online rhetoric and, like, breaking it down. And it's like, I wanted to bring some real psychology into it. And this is such a weird, abstract thing to be like, men could just pull the rug out from society, from all of you. It's, like, hard to find a psychological term for that or to if any of you have any idea like a philosopher even where I'm going to read a few comments because like I have sage, pretty privilege, and misogyny go hand in hand. Exactly. When you look at women as just an object, like, of course, like it's it is insane. And to think about the men that have built glamorous lives for themselves, men with mansions, millions of dollars, and and then they go around walking around with children on their arms. Like their goal is to have an 18-year-old. Like I just think it's like a sign of the times and a sign that we're at the end of some kind of crazy cycle and we all need each other and to like point this fingers at each other when it's like we're all victims of the oligarchs, we're all victims of the systems that are failing. They're not good systems. You want to talk about, oh, you could just pull the rug out from under us, from what? These systems that are inept and can't, a lot of our infrastructure can't really do what it needs to do. We're coming up on all these data centers and this AI taking over. We don't have the infrastructure for it. And it's like we are in this horrible situation where instead of looking at it for what it is and figuring out working solutions, how can we help young people? Like instead of people that are like 40 years old, like I'm almost 40 years old myself, instead of us just sitting around and talking about these online things, what can we do to help steer people in a better direction? What can we do to help the young people in our lives not end up bitter and alone? It's so crazy to me how these red pill guys talk about like bitter cat ladies. Like you're becoming that. You're becoming the bitter cat lady. It's just sad, even more sad because you don't have the cats, you know? There's nothing wrong with being single. The Bible says there's nothing wrong with being single. Marriage is for people that want that intimate relationship, right? And I am not Christian per se, but as you're saying, like there's a lot of truth in the Bible, in my opinion, and a lot of people follow it. And a lot of people will push marriage onto others because they're religious, which is funny. But like if you're Christian, it says like it's better to be alone than to be with a quarrelsome woman, right? And so, like, if you have that attitude and you're going through life and like still looking at the beauty and comedy, everything good in life, and still enjoying yourself and improving upon yourself, you're going to attract good things. If you walk through life just thinking, wow, women are so horrible, they've destroyed everything, everything went down the tube since feminism. Oh, it has nothing to do with like what, in my opinion, is probably the last best president of our time getting assassinated on live television because he had said there's a global elite government that rules all of the rest of our governments and they're bad. They're not good. And then he got I'm talking about JFK. He got assassinated within like a week or two of making this speech. You can find it on YouTube. Like there's no other president since that is talked like that, and of course for good reason. And like it, it has nothing to do with the fact that we're at the end of a late stage capitalism because nothing lasts forever. Everything has to fail. That doesn't mean I'm socialist or communist, but it's clear as day to me like this is not sustainable. And in my opinion, they've done this on purpose. They've infiltrated social media spaces and caused people to say the same things over and over. And if you would have told 16-year-old Lydia, that's my name, I'm Lydia, if you didn't know, that when you're 38 years old, people are going to be saying that women shouldn't be able to vote. Like a lot of people, this isn't like just a very uncommon thing in the dark corners of the internet. And that's one thing that like I was really disappointed when I saw Charlie Kirk say it. And the more I'm figuring out, and the more I'm like, you know what? I think that he had a lot of people with a lot of money putting it in his pocket, telling him what to say because that's part of the plan. Because they have to keep us divided and conquered in that way. And like this, women, if you looked at women as how important we are and honored our roles, and like, you're like, yes, men can only do some jobs. You need the brute force of a man. My husband was trying to show me how to mow our lawn earlier. I literally couldn't start it. I have two hernias on the right side of my body. I couldn't pull the thing hard enough to start the lawnmower. And it's like, so yeah, like it sucks to be the weaker vessel sometimes. Like I don't enjoy being as weak as I am all the time, and it's like you do have to most women I know, like they like it when they see their man accomplish something like that. And it's like that's we all like that. I don't know what the point is of this rhetoric. What are we supposed to do? Like, what are we supposed to do when we see a man working construction job? Like, get on our knees? Like, what do the red pill people want people to do? It's like, I do think, in my opinion, I think most people respect the work that hardworking people do, and if they don't, they're usually stuck up elitists. It's like the kind of people that are ruining all of society. They're the kind of people we should be looking at. And you see this common red pill rhetoric. As soon as it starts getting talked about in the comment section, it goes quickly from misogyny to racism because that's what patriarchy is. It's a hierarchy. It's the elite, and then it's men, women, children. And and it's a white on top at the very top of all of it. And if that isn't obvious by now, like of course the elite is who runs the whole world. They have set everything up. It's not women getting rights. If you want to subvert a country and like bring down a civilization, what better way than to infiltrate into their society and make people fight over skin color, what's between their legs, what they like to do in bed? That's like all our country has been for the last 10, 15 years is us fighting with each other about like mostly things we can't even help. And I refuse to stand by and like have this just consistently go out there into the universe. Hey, Mr. Carey, I'm glad to see you in here. I haven't looked at the chat at all in a minute. Um, I want to make a comment. I'm afraid if I click on something, I'm gonna click on uh okay. I just can start a poll or a Q&A. I can't make a comment on my own chat. I was gonna put the buy me a coffee link and pin it. Mr. Carey, will you please put the buy me a coffee link? Thank you. Hey Fendi, how are you doing tonight? It's hard to stay focused. I'm sorry, Joe. And I know that's, like, really annoying. I have to get back into the swing of things. Just being, like, a week since I went live, like, it's hard to go live, so I appreciate you guys bearing with me, and I don't mean that, like, feel sorry for me, but, yeah, so this guy Jesus said in my last live about 5 days ago, when I was saying that women are doing better, getting higher education degrees, buying more houses, saying like, what is up with the male loneliness epidemic? Why isn't there a female loneliness epidemic when there's just as many women not getting married and not having the babies? And not only that, but they seem to be thriving in these statistical ways. And I'm not being like 4B radical feminist about it. I'm being like, I'm a mother of three sons going out into this world. Like, what is going on with men? And somebody had to quickly say women wouldn't be thriving if men took away their labor and energy. And this is something I've heard so much in the red pill community, that men run all of a society and therefore they could like topple it all down with them. Like when, and I've heard this too, like women could disappear tomorrow, men would be fine. Or like men could disappear and like women wouldn't be able to live for 24 hours. And I understand. Like, infrastructure is important. I lived off grid for 11 and a half months, okay? And when you have to deal with your waste, when you have to heat up all your own shower water and like dump however many gallons of water you use to shower and wash your hair every single time you shower, you really start to appreciate the infrastructure that is available, especially in our country. So many people all over the world still don't have hot water, like, running out of their faucets. Like, we're so blessed. We're so spoiled to a fault. And I think that it would serve people well, like not disabled people, but like people that are able bodied to like go off grid. Maybe not military service while you're 18 years old, but these people, they need to like go have to haul every drop of water you drink, every drop of water you bathe with. Um, I don't understand why I can't pin comments. Okay, pin message. Did that pin it? Oh, good. Thank you, Mr. Carey. So, I'm gonna keep that pinned at the bottom. It's I don't am I allowed to say that it's better to donate to that? Like YouTube, you used to not be able to like say stuff about donating. You know what I mean? Like it was like monetization guidelines were weird when it comes to you talking about getting super chats. So, anyways, this whole system is so messed up in so many ways. And I thought this person that said this comment to me knew that. I know he thought that women shouldn't be able to vote, but he was always very nice and cordial about it. But, I thought he knew that wage and debt slavery affects us all equally, and it's the elite siphoning too much that is leading to the late stage capitalism that is causing us all to suffer. But clearly, men, in my opinion, is the ones that do tend to work more of their lives because they don't have to be pregnant and birth babies and breastfeed babies and stuff. Like the wage gap is because men work more. It's not because men just get paid more for being men. I'm sure in some circumstances it is that, but I don't believe in like this general wage gap thing that a lot of people still bring up. It is explained easily by women are out of the workforce for more of their adult lives on average. And I've never heard a feminist say if we all stopped working, society would crumble. And it's just as true because female dominated industries like education and healthcare are so vital. And while we might not do as much heavy lifting, but ask somebody who's a full-time caretaker, nurses, CNAs, like they break their backs all the time, helping people in and out of bed, moving people around so they don't get bed sores. There is absolutely a lot of hard jobs. And I think about this as a woman who has worked some hard physical jobs. Like, if you wanna take it there, I wouldn't say this if we weren't already taking it there, you know what I mean? If we weren't already saying, like, "Oh, women better," like, w women, I'm weaker and I do the same job, and I have the same production rate. Doesn't that say something about how strong I am? You know what I mean? Like, I've worked plenty of the same jobs as men doing the exact same thing with the same results, same production. If anything, I'd say it's better because I cut less corners because I'm a woman. Oh my gosh, I still need to unload on you guys what it's like to work in a factory line with like 20 men and two other women. Okay. And you really think I'm a misandrist. Okay. You haven't worked with a bunch of men in like hourly job if you really think that they're so superior, okay? We're all human. Nobody's like better than the other just because of the sex organs that you were born with. And that's never going to lead you to anywhere like fruitful. Like this, like I can't, every single time they start talking about how women shouldn't have ever been able to vote. Yeah. And it says a lot. I saw this comment. It says a lot that they let black men do it first. I I this is regressing. What is wrong with men in our country? They're just like out there and open with it. And like if you think it's okay to be so hateful, you do deserve to be alone. And I don't want to say that to somebody that's sincerely alone and it's not as to as many faults of their own. We have women fighter pilots now. Women make better. Are you talking about snipers, Gary? Yes, women do have Oh, hey Zeus, I didn't know you were in here. Women do have better hand-eye coordination, better aim, and like that whole like, oh, women can't do anything as good as men. It's almost like that was put into our heads because they knew women were just as good, if not better. It like, yes, brute force. We need people who can lift heavy things. Like I understand that. But with like I used to work with unloading pallets, and there's this thing called a pallet jack. You just stomp with your foot and it lifts it up, and you can like take the shrink wrap off the pallet and it just like spins around. And it's like, back in the day before that pallet jack, that would have been a lot harder. Maybe a woman my size wouldn't have been able to whip that pallet around so easily, and like, but like now that we have more and more technology, and that's what I think is really going on that scares men. Like they see like they are less needed in certain ways, and that's what's freaking them out. And it's like at the heart of misogyny, in my opinion, is probably being unfulfilled and not feeling like you have a purpose in life, which is really sad. And turning around and seeing women that seem to have this inherent purpose, whether or not we mother, we are feminine, we are nurturing, and like people look up to that. People will do a lot to be around a woman. And it's we have forklifts too, right, Gary? The difference is not pronounced as they make it out to be. Heidi Homestead, how are you? I like what you're saying, but you could shut up and make us men a sandwich, please, Barry. And I've said this before, like I do believe the natural order in most marriages, not all, like never say across the board, 100% absolutely all people should be this way. I do believe that women, the natural order is like the woman submitting to the man. That doesn't mean me walking around and never having an opinion. That means somebody like me that is very strong minded in opinion. The only person in this world that could tell me to calm down and I might take it seriously is like my husband. Anybody else is like, calm down. I'd be like, oh, that makes me want to get even more about it. But like with him, and like that's the way it should be, right? Like your husband should be the one that like can bring you back to earth. You should trust him enough. You should trust him in his judgment enough. You should have married somebody with such strong character that when he's like, whoa, like slow down, you're like, oh, maybe I should, and like that's what the natural order of things is, it's and like they take that and twist it and make it about women need to just sit down and shut up and never be seen or heard. And like, that's the ideal situation. Have you heard of Aqua Tofana? Like, there was never this 1950s ideal stay-at-home mom situation for decades and decades. Like a lot of these people like seem to think that was something for advertisements. And back in the day when women literally had no resources and had to rely on men for absolutely everything, I don't think it was uncommon for them to off their husbands with poison. That's what aqua tofana is. Like this woman helped many women, I believe, in Italy, somewhere around there, for a while. She was like notorious for giving them this potion that helped them out. And I'm sure some of them were just straight up horrible people and the men didn't deserve it. But let's be real, like there were so many women so oppressed in such horrible situations. And it wasn't like all rainbows for everybody involved. And that's what people need to know. Like we are at this time now where we have the ability, like you have the ability to do whatever you want with your life, to unpack all of this internalized misogyny. I as a woman had to do it too. I as a woman would look at other women and like automatically like judge something about them and like be like, why do I do that? Why do I care what another why do I care if a woman doesn't put her hair behind her ears? You know what I mean? It's like it's just so much easier to hate on a woman. And why is that? Because we believe women are less. If you didn't believe women are less, you wouldn't think that we shouldn't have the same rights. And it is, as a woman, that mentality, it's scary. And I know some people get off on that, and that's scary. That's what's so scary because I don't walk around in the world trying to get one over people, trying to make anybody's life more difficult. I just want to see people thrive and succeed. And I do believe that, like, the nuclear family unit is being decimated, and that's bad for all of us, whether or not you wanna be married and have a family yourself. I just saw a long comment I'm going to read. The Ellison Chronicles. No, it's women like you who actually have the delusional belief that thinks because you know how a pallet jack works mean they can use that pallet jack for 12 hours a day for 50 hours a week. I did though, Ellison. I worked full time. It wasn't 12 hours, it was 10-hour shifts. I did do what you just said. Like, that's what so it was so funny. I work in auto manufacturing, and one day I was talking about Elon Musk, and somebody in my chat was like, "Until you build cars," and I have built car parts, though. Like, you don't know who you're talking to. I've worked and ran circles around the men in every factory I was in, okay? That's not to say there weren't men doing other jobs that I couldn't ever do. Like, yeah, I admit that. But like a lot of like the most important, like Gary brought up forklift driving, forklifts are very important. That is skilled labor. It can be very hard, especially you're like looking up, your neck might get hurt. Like, I'm not trying to say like they're sitting down. You know what I mean? Like, it is skilled labor. It is something that's so important. Like there would be nothing on your shelves if there weren't people, like hundreds of people probably in your town driving around forklifts and warehouses like 20 hours a day. And like people don't realize that have never worked in a job like that. And I bring up blue collar workers a lot because it really got to me. My husband working in a warehouse, and I worked in a warehouse too during the pandemic. I say that word. And like so many people just going on and on about the healthcare professionals. Meanwhile, there's people working at factories and warehouses and keeping the supply chain going just the same. And they're not making, they did make better money, but like they're not making the money that healthcare professionals do. And they're risking, oh, and it was so funny. They would take the fevers of the first shift people, and when second shift came in, they just like put the thing down. Like they didn't take our, like, that's how serious, uh, Walmart. I worked for Walmart. I worked for Amazon. I worked for the worst of the worst, big corporations, too big to fail. It's not women getting rights, guys. It's not feminism taking over the world. It's billionaire oligarchs that are like causing us all to not be able to survive. And then, like, our children and our grandchildren are going to be so much worse off because instead of taking the bull by the horns and being like, what are we going to do? What can we do to remedy the situation? We all fought online. And I'm a part of it. So I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else. But that's why I want to try to add my voice to the discourse to be like, look, like, nobody, this isn't going to do anybody any good sitting around and saying, well, men could take it all away from women because they do like the hardest brute brute strength needed jobs. Mm. What about how difficult it is to be a caretaker, to educate children? Those are extremely difficult, and the mental tasks that women take on in general as a homemaker and professions that are female dominated, there's something to be said about that too, right? Like it can be harder to be a high pressured office worker. You tend to have more heart issues and certain health issues than people who work more physical jobs on their feet. Like we weren't made to sit there and stress out mentally 40 hours a week either. It's all killing all of us. And it's not women's fault. Once again, it's not women getting rights. I really hope Jose, or I'm sorry, Jesus continues to listen to the rest of this or is still in here. It's not women getting rights that is the reason why all of society is crumbling right now. It's the elite taking what could have been the best opportunity for mankind up until this point as we know it, the internet, to help us all connect and like learn as much as we can, and instead like taking it and twisting it into like I swear around the year 2012 2010, like I saw the changes, and that's when I backed off of social media. It was something I felt too, like it was obvious, like just the way people fought. It was just like everybody wants to turn everything into a fight, and I think a lot of it was bots. They subverted, they're what is that book? It's like a document that was leaked from the Chinese government that's talking about how they will win World War III, basically, and it's not going to be fought with weapons. It's not the traditional kind of war. They're going to sneak into there. And I'm not saying it's the Chinese. I don't think it's the Chinese at this point, guys. I don't think that really matters so much, is the point that, like, it's not women having rights. I'm a married mother. I homeschooled my kids, and like I've seen the a pit like so many traditional families, like what like these men think that like it's like women have to be so strong and do so much. And if you've got a good woman in your life that is like helping you raise your kids and like you like it's just so sad to me. Like that teacher's quote. What is going on with women and mothers? Like why doesn't anybody revere motherhood like they used to? And I want to say this. I'm sorry. I know I'm all over the place. When I was walking around with 2 younger kids in my 20s, the people that did seem to revere motherhood the most were older men. It was always an older gentleman that really gave me my accolades. So I'm not like I don't want to come off as a man hater at all. I would love to like talk to any of those men that took their time to tell me in the grocery store parking lot how like, a mother's job is never done. There all these red pill guys walking around, they're not going to be stopping young mothers in the parking lot smiling at them, giving their kids a dollar. just being sweet and acknowledging that, like, they know they have their hands full and, like, I don't know, there's just something about that, and, like, women did it too, but, like, it was way more older men would be like, "Hey, I see you, and you're doing a good job." And that's what's gonna be lacking in about 40 years. Because all these men that just look down on women so much, like, I believe misogyny has always been a thing, women have always been oppressed, but it's getting worse. Just like I think there's always been racism in our country, definitely. I don't as a child of the 90s, I think they made it worse. They stirred the pot and they made it worse. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to, like, offend anybody and, like, I don't mean to, like, come off as, like, what is the word I'm looking for? Like, trying to brush off anything that anybody has experienced racism wise. But I just think that, like, it's a real issue, the divide and conquer. And to bring this up that women need men so badly without acknowledging how important women's roles are, and men do incredible jobs for all of us. I get that. But, like, it nobody's making them do that. They choose to do that. A lot of it does come with, like, the respect you get. Men thrive off of that. Men thrive off vasopressin. It is a hormone that you create when you are stressed. That's why men like sports. That's why men like games. That's why men, will bust each other's balls in a way that, like, women don't. Not that they can't be horrible and bitchy, but, like, this is how they bond. This is how they get along. This isn't them being mean. They bond with stress hormone. It kind of makes sense. That's another reason why maybe they end up with women that they shouldn't, right? Because they're feeling good off of, like, getting stressed out over it. But, like, there's a difference between a woman that knows how to, like, play the chase me game and, like, somebody who has a personality disorder and is going to destroy your mental health in life and take you down with her. Um, okay. If you can educate or concentrate on the progress of a person, a single child person, patient, what most women do, 77% of healthcare workers, 77% of educators are women. I think that, yes, men do these jobs sometimes too, don't get me wrong. I think the men and women that do them are amazing. I couldn't take on what it would take to be a teacher personally. I couldn't do it. I couldn't help to raise other people's children the way that teachers do. And like, they're doing what they hate other people for doing, feeling disrespected and a lack of acknowledgement, and, like, they are not seen for the hard labor that they do, but they're turning around and doing it for, like, all the rest of society. And like I said, I did see one man who's a roofer who brings a lot of these subjects up, but he tends to be more positive. Um, I would venture to say he probably would say, yeah, men could take it all away from women if they wanted to. Well, there's some rhetoric in the red pill community that I have it pinned, Mr. Carey. I appreciate that, but you don't have to. You can if you want to, though. Pray for VJ. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you're suffering from financial and health issues right now, VJ Group Customers Choice. Teachers are massively overrated, but they're so needed, John. I get what you mean. Like, I homeschool my kids, okay? So, but I don't want to discount, like, we need teachers. We wouldn't be able to survive this capitalistic society. Like, most of us need two incomes. We don't, because we started off almost 20 years ago and we became homeowners a decade ago. And I feel really badly for anybody that wasn't in that boat. And it's like anybody that wants to stay at home with their kids on one income right now. I don't see how most people could do it. Of course, you have, like, a good income. I'm talking about the average blue collar worker. Um, so sometimes the sentiment is taken as far as all men need are artificial wombs, and then women will be officially useless because that's all they're useful for anyways. And once again, I don't understand why these people don't, like, really think about this. If there was such a thing as no society of women and just artificial wombs, do you really think that would turn into a bunch of happy, thriving, single happy dads? Or would it turn into people like Elon Musk owning the right to use the artificial wombs, owning all the artificial wombs, and making most 99.9% of the population that were all male, they're slaves. They're not gonna like hand you babies. You're not gonna be able to just like have a baby. That's what this world like life is hard. Surviving is hard. Like it sucks to be a woman. Whatever you think like is like easy, we bleed once a month per day. Like if you don't have a woman in your life with health issues, female reproductive health issues, like good for you. I'm sincerely glad. If like all the women in your life are fine in that way, great. But there's so many women that suffer so much. I saw this anesthesiologist make a video about a woman who had a stroke because she was taking hormone replacement therapy. Her doctor wouldn't help her with it, so she just bought some online pills and was ingesting it. So she didn't think to tell the anesthesiologist because she thought it wasn't important. It was just like something that she did online, and she had a stroke because of it. And it was just a comment section. I knew what it was going to be, just full of women with stories like me. And we can change genders, but we can't help a woman with PCOS. I have never had help balancing my hormones besides $2,000 a month HRT implants where they like literally take a scalpel and like implant the size, it's like the size of a grain of rice, this implant into like your butt once every 6 weeks, and it's like, after I did that a few times in my early 20s, I'm like, "I can't afford this, number 1," or maybe it was $2,000 every 2 months. Whatever it was unaffordable, and a am I really gonna do this every 6 weeks for the rest of my life to have a better quality of life? Because things were a lot better. I literally can't afford hormone replacement therapy. They don't study our bodies when it comes to medicine. They just use male bodies in most clinical trials because our hormones complicate us. Like, they don't even use crash test dummies designed as female bodies. All crash test dummies are designed as male bodies. Like, you think this world is like we live in a gynocentric society? Women are looked at as less than in almost every single way. And if you were to like perpetuate that and keep saying these negative nihilistic things, it's only going to make more lonely. And if you yourself want to walk around, if it makes you feel better, if somehow this motivates you to like do better or something, like more power to you. Like there's when I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel, I don't think that's so healthy to like hate on all women, don't get me wrong. But if you're at least putting a positive twist on it, like when I see certain people with YouTube channels that get a subscriber. Wow, anybody can get an audience. Anybody with any amount of consistency. It doesn't matter who you are. There is an audience out there for you with the billions of people on the planet. And it can be inspirational. And you see somebody, you're like, wow, I can't believe this person has an audience at all. But I'm going to take that and turn it into inspiration because if they can do it, I can do it too. And that's what like everybody needs to like look at it as. So if you're like looking at it as like I'm women are weaker than me and I'm better than them, and you're gonna like build yourself up and try to go out there and really lead and like walk the walk and talk the talk. Go do it. But that's not what's going on right now. It is men crawling into a hole and like pulling the blanket over and being like, I'm just gonna sit here and blame it all on women and feminism. Like that is insane to me. Once again, I could unprivate a video. I made a video years ago that how feminism has harmed us all. I get it. The rhetoric got to me. Okay. It's not women getting rights, guys. It's late stage capitalism. It is people siphoning off every last penny we have. It's life being too expensive. And it is scary as a woman to hear men I respect, men I thought were good men, say shit like women shouldn't be able to vote. Well, women wouldn't be thriving if weren't the men that they are. Like, what about none of us would be here if women didn't lay down and risk their lives to birth babies? What about that? Like, if we're gonna like honor the role of men in life, they built society. They did a lot. Yeah. When do we acknowledge the what women do? Because we don't. Because you hate us so much, and I don't mean you towards anybody in the chat. Women are made to nurture, made to be welcoming, made to be a pillar in the family. Nobody can become a woman. You either are or you aren't, Patrick said. I agree with that, Patrick. And oh, hey, Jay Hardy, how are you? So I've said this before, and like, I think most women have dominant feminine energy. Some women are dominant masculine, right? And we can all think of like those type of women, and that's fine. Like you should be able to be whoever you want, whoever you are. And one thing that is going on with women right now, I think a lot of it is hormonal. If we could actually, like, we would all be better off if more people would put more thought into women's hormones. I've seen this subject come up so much. And I know, like, as a woman coming up on 40 myself, like women around the age of 40, that's when a lot of women file for divorce. There's something going on with women. And like, I really just don't think it's like horrible. We're demons, okay? Our hormones are so complicated. And if we could help women out with their hormones, we would all be better off, right? Um, no, you need to obey the golden rule. All women, baby Bubba. Um, oh no, is somebody saying my voice is annoying me? Fendi, you're definitely motivating me to leave America. I'm motivating you, Fendi. I thought that I must be thinking of somebody else. I thought you were in South Africa. Um, Patrick, women are not less than, they are different. Yeah, that's one of my favorite autism sayings. Different, not less than. And exactly. Like if men could get back to if there ever was this golden period where men and women work together more cohesively and women like because this is what is basically brought up women were more submissive. That's what men want to go back to a time. Right? Just think about what you're saying. You want to go back to a time where women didn't have as many rights. And, what good is that really gonna do? Is this gonna give a leg up to men? Like, when you're sitting there and saying, "Women don't do these hard jobs that men do," but all of society is falling apart because of women entering the workforce. But I thought that we didn't do the hard jobs that you guys do, and only you can do them, but we're still infiltrating and somehow toppling it all from the inside out. Like, I don't understand that. And this person that said that to me women, with all due respect, women wouldn't be thriving if men didn't basically like if men didn't have their labor and energy put forth and like if men weren't good men, right? But like meanwhile, 91% of violent crime is committed by men. There are so many bad men out there. Most men aren't. Most men aren't violent crime committers, don't get me wrong. But like I just oh my gosh. It really gets to me. I think you guys can tell it's like a little hard for me to talk about um, there's, the elite men taking control of the artificial wombs. That's why I was just like, I just don't understand how people think that like a planet of just men is the answer. Or like if we went back to like there just being male leaders, like then everything would be okay. We do have mostly male leaders, and that is why we are where we are. And it's the racism. It's just like the racism really gets to me too. I'm talking shit about people like in the continent of Africa. Meanwhile, you adore people who live off grid here in this continent. It's the same thing, only they haven't ravaged and spoiled and ruined their groundwaters over there with their industries. So some guys can make a buck so they can go buy an 18-year-old girl for what? So for what? So we can all have to work 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours just to barely be able to scrape by and have like $20 left after bills and groceries. Did you know the no people bought TikTok? Yes, Fendi. Yes, I did hear about that. And that's who I was talking about. I think I used to think Chinese. I remember I was picking at Amazon and I found that book that I was talking about where it was like this leaked document that's talking about how they're going to come into our society and like do things socially to us. They're not going to like bomb us and use the typical war tactics when World War III is committed. And this is like something from the 80s, I believe. And for a few years, I was like thinking that and like not to say that they're like our best friends, but I really do think it's even sicker than that. It's like who runs the world, who we're closest in bed with. You can't even you can't like they've made laws so like you can't even say anything you want in America about him. And I just can't help but think this constant rhetoric, at first it was racist, right? And it still is, but at first it was racial, and then it turned into this gender thing. And it's also been like it's so evil and sick. And I think they purposely tore I know this is I'm going out on a limb a little bit. I think they purposely tore black people down for a reason because they know black people are incredibly strong. And they've been doing shit to black people for decades now because they know for so long all they had were their voices. And they are incredibly talented and strong people. And that whatever they could do to tear them down and their nuclear family units and everything, I'm just thinking like that might be something that happened. I'm not God, I'm not saying for sure. Like The reason why this is so evil to me talking about this rhetoric is because it's not about being inspirational or coming up with solutions. It's about hate, placing blame on those that you hate. We are all facing the same consequences of late stage capitalism, okay? With very few exceptions. Yes, some women that have won the genetic lottery, their life might like, and they're in the right place at the right time. There's so many beautiful people all over the world that will never like, you know, get to live off the fact that they're, like, incredibly insanely gorgeous and beautiful. I often think about, like, the most talented people will never hear the most beautiful voices, like, most likely you're gonna miss out on, like, the most beautiful, talented people because simply just the way the world is with all the people that are shoved in our face and, you got Taylor Swift shoved down your throat for over a decade, like, she needs to move over and let the younger like, that's how I feel about it. Once you're, like, in your mid-30s and you've formed a great life for yourself, you need to like move over and let other people do it. And that's what is going on with these oligarchs. And I think that's why Charlie was offed. They saw him for the bright light that he was. They knew it was competition. Oh my gosh, especially the fact that he's so young. I think JD Vance is much more of a puppet. And I think Charlie, bless his soul, he was if you guys haven't seen, oh my gosh, Anomaly is one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. He made a great video, and I think it was the best video I've seen on everything that has to do with Charlie. Is like a 40-minute long video on his channel, I believe. And yeah, you just can't watch that video and not see it for what it was. In my opinion, that's just my opinion, but he was clearly he knew from day one what was going on with the no-no people. You know what I mean? He said it when he was on Patrick Bet-Davis's show within, like, a week of things going down, and yeah, so these older men are like lobsters in a bucket. They're gonna tear down anybody that they can with them, and it's really sad. Okay, I'm getting ready to say adult language, okay? Adult audiences only. I guess I should have said that before. Sissy, wussy, pussy, bitch, cunt, I can't say that. Slut, whore, bimbo, hag, spinster, cat lady, hussy, trollop, easy, floozy, tease. All the ways we insult women, we have insulting language. How many insults can you think of that fall in line with that are the same, that are like masculine, that are intended for men? Like, really think about it. I'm not gonna sit here and list them off, but you know what I mean, like DICK, like there's not that many that are like specifically for, um, and it always involves male genitalia, all the stuff I'm thinking about. I know a lot of this is like derogatory towards female genitalia as well, but when you really think about like the way that women for centuries now, like there's no term for like a man that decided to never marry. Spinster is spinster because they were some of the first women that could live on their own when women could weave cloth and make fabric, that was one of the first professions where she was doing that from the comfort of her home. She was doing something to make herself a living wage, and she didn't need a man and didn't get married and chose not. I can't help it. Like, of course, some of them probably like it wasn't intentional. They wanted to get married, they just never did. But a lot of these spinsters, when they didn't need the resources of a man, they just didn't go for it because there's so many men can be so horrible. And I don't mean that towards, like, my male viewers. I really do appreciate you guys sticking with me because, like, I sit there and, like, sometimes I do cringe. I'm like, I really like, no, I do not think all men. It's just, like, the minority of men that are bad are so bad and do so many bad things, and we're all victims to them. And, like, I could never imagine being like because, like, 10% or less of men commit 90% of crimes, therefore, I think you all should lose your rights. Like, I couldn't fathom it is hard for me to wrap my mind around my peers, a 40-year-old man, thinking that I shouldn't have the same right to be able to vote as them. Like, it's just, it really does floor me because that's how like egalitarian I am in my own mind. Egalitarianistic? Would that be the right way to say that? The saddest part is so many men are hurting so bad because they hate part of themselves, because they hate women. They have feminine energy, or what Jung called anima, their unconscious feminine self of their side of their psyche. Like we all have it. It's not to say you are feminine, you are, you want to be a woman. It's like every man, and that's what's so detrimental. And you are hating women, you're hating yourself, a part of yourself. You're hating where you came from. And that is so bad for your psyche. And if anything, you need to get over it for your own sake. Hate fantasizing in mass about the possibilities of the good men no longer being so good. Like, never mind your fellow peers that like terrorize all of us and commit 90% of all violent crimes. Focus on women and how we aren't as nice as your grandma anymore. Grandma warned us about you. She was going through the same doubt and judgment by somebody, no matter what she did, no matter what you do as a woman. If men could understand this, and I believe a lot of you good men do. So, like, sorry for like bashing you over the head with it. Like, that's why I asked my husband, like, do you feel like this? Like, men run all of society. Men are so, and he's no, like it. Now we have men speaking about what a lot of you already think are leading down other men down hateful, unproductive roads to nowhere in public forums. And red pill men could take lessons from 4B women. 4B women are like the equivalent. If you don't know what 4B is, it's women who are opting out of dating, any kind of intimacy, having babies, families for sure. There's like 4Bs, it's a Korean thing. And a lot of people are thinking like all these Korean women are doing it. It's really not like that over in Korea. It did start in Korea. Women already were just like not having babies. A lot of women in Korea don't even know what the fuck 4B is, but like their birth rates are insanely low. And like one of the reasons, in my opinion, from just studying it from afar, they have an extremely misogynistic society. You give women rights and you act misogynistic as fuck, you're going to have way less babies. You're going to have way less women willing to take on all the domestic duties that, like, and, and a lot of it isn't, it's not purely men's fault. Women look down on motherhood the same. When I was a stay at home mom, my wallet, my choice. Of course, Mike, it should be like that. Um, well, men are transparent. We don't wear makeup, no wigs, so you see is what you get. Unless you have a big old beard, right? Pretty boy. I've seen so many funny. And I understand, like the makeup nowadays freaks me out. It's like special effects makeup. The way women contour their face and like I get it. Like that is weird, but like I know men don't often men don't see what we they just they're not used to like what makeup is what if you see a woman that's like wears the fake eyelashes, has the fake nails, and you don't want a vain woman, like, don't go for women that look like that, that obviously are like putting hours into trying to make themselves look different. I could have a completely different nose if I knew how to contour my makeup, and that's everybody and their brother focuses in on my nose right away. Well, I shouldn't say them. Elle, not sure why you're worrying about this. There are much more important concerning things on the horizon. You should be able to feel it in Kentucky. The weather is not right anymore. Elle Belcher, I appreciate your comment. And I do. So I didn't say exactly what my schedule is. I appreciate your comment, and you're right. I intend on talking about a lot of different things. This is such a common sentiment, though. And I want to talk about that's why I called it the antidote. I just want to bring up conversations around super common sentiments because I do believe it is very important. This echo chamber that these same red pill sentiments create is detrimental to people's well-being. But I think the weather has been weird for a few years, honestly. I've noticed a lot of persistent contrails in my area where I barely ever saw any before. That's been really disappointing. There's like a grid in the sky that is so unusual for like as far out in the country as we are. And so I just look at it as like I don't know if you guys have ever surfed or been on a boogie board before, but like when you're riding a wave, it sometimes you like you feel this, you don't know which way it's gonna go. The speed starts picking up. You're like, it's gonna go one way or the other, And like I just feel that right now. All you can do is ride it, right? And like I don't want to be, I hope more I really do try to be more, like, entertaining, like, people that feel the same thought, "Oh, I'm relieved to see another woman say this," especially my fellow women, but men too, but, my peers that are women, we need each other so bad. There are so many crappy, vain women out there that are ruining it. There's this video going viral where this woman's complaining about her two-year-old in her self-driving car, sitting there and while her car's driving her, talking about how she can't stand being a mom and he doesn't appreciate her and how he's like not like the other kids at gymnastics and just like do you guys know what I'm talking? It is so terrible to see the way this woman is talking and like that's where I started to go. Being a mother is not respected. It is not revered as the important job that it is. Like we can all agree, like, and that's another thing I want to break down the statistics when red pill, a lot of people focus on how like kids that do better with single dads and single dad homes compared to single mother homes and like why that is, okay? Um, I'm totally like losing my train of thought in a million different ways. The 4B women, okay. They are a lot of the some of them are man haters, okay, I'll admit that. Like, some of them just are truly like, "This isn't, like, what I want for me in my life," and they're not hateful, they're community minded, they're all about, like, helping out at the homeless shelter and everything. Is now, some of them take it as far to be like, "I think all male babies should be aborted," and I think that's absolutely disgusting and sick, and that's why I made my "Why Feminism Harms Us All" video. When I would hear women say stuff like that, and, like, there of course, there's extremists in all areas, right? There's extreme men and women that hate on the other gender. In my opinion, what is scary is I think it feels like there's more men hating on more women, in my opinion. And you could say that's, yeah, Kevin, I meant chemtrails. Persistent contrails is like the scientific way to say it. Um, Megan Christie, or was it Christy Megan? There's like a whistleblower from the military, this woman who was responsible for signing off on all sorts of chemicals. Because, when you're dealing, especially with certain chemicals, you have to know the exact amount, where they're going. And anyway, she blew the whistle years ago. She doesn't have any real beliefs. She just talks, and whatever comes out, comes out. Well, everybody's allowed to like change their minds from time to time, but I think I have some pretty strong, passionate beliefs for sure. Red pill men could take lessons from 4B women, the man haters, that they focus on themselves and community. Men need to better themselves. They need to focus on themselves. Quit focusing on things outside of yourself that you can't change. Women in 4B encourage education, health, monetary wealth. I know, oh no, women liking to make money. I know that's horrible. I know it's horrible. It's like it's completely okay when a man does it. But, once a woman's a career woman, it's like a bad thing. Really sit with that and think about why that is. Like, why is that a bad thing? A man doing it is just a bro. A woman is a gold digger, even when she's making her own money, because according to so many, she's stepping on the backs of men, getting treated differently in a better way, and like didn't actually earn her keep. And that's like, could you imagine being told as a man, well, that's what they're doing to especially white men, right? You're privileged. You have white privilege. You're a white man, therefore your life is just easier. And you say that to Mr. Carey, my moderator, who's been through hell and back in the last 20 years after a severe injury at his workplace. Like, can you imagine me telling Mr. Carey, your life is easier than mine, Mr. Carey, because you're a white man? Like, that's the kind of shit that I was like, no, I can't jive with that. And that's like why red pill went from Google even says that's a definition of red pill. What used to be an online forum, like online, it started in a forum talking about The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, and, like, but it doesn't talk about what it turned into. It's like what used to be, because it's clearly not, like, what it used to be, you know? And now it's turned into, in my opinion, like, you think about that, the powers that be saw people talk about this movement where they're talking about, "You know what? We're basically in a simulated reality," and, like, there's so many factors that we don't take into consideration or know about. We're just like in this made up world and believe that like the government is our friend and all this. And like, of course, they would take that. Of course, they would take that group and infiltrate it and turn it into it's not us versus the elite, the governments, especially the shadow governments ruling over everybody. It is us versus women, right? Right? It's like you see the downfall happening because women, like, even though the economy is so bad, like, this is how I look at it. Like, you still have the ability to serve your life's purpose. If that is being a mother, and I don't think every woman's life purpose is being a mother, okay? But I feel like mine is, and a lot of women's are. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like, you can't, I'm sorry, guys. She's definitely brainwashed. I'm about to have a movement. You can't serve your higher purpose if all of society, you have no support system. It takes a village. Imagine when the village consists of half of the village saying that you're less than, you shouldn't even be able to vote. We're worthy of raising your children, influencing the children that, half of which you think should be able to vote. Women are good enough to raise children and influence them in so many ways. I don't understand the sentiment, and that's one of my favorite from advertisements with signage from when women were trying to gain the right to vote. Is like, we're good enough to mother your children. We're good enough to vote. And white women got Trump elected. No conservative-minded person has anything to say back to that. You wanna talk about how women shouldn't be able to vote? If women didn't vote in the last election, how would that have gone? Like, I don't understand, or I don't understand exactly how it would have gone, but it's like, that is not what is wrong here. It is a bunch of men hoarding wealth and resources from the rest of us. Like, literally stacking digits in a bank account so they can, like, it's like their dick measuring contest at this point. It's like how many digits they have in their bank account. And that absolutely gives them more power. If the last few years haven't shown that to all of us, when Trump was inaugurated and he's got just like CEOs plastered behind him from all the biggest companies in our country. Absolutely. Wealth gives you power. Oligarchs run us. Corporations and oligarchs are running our country. They're driving it into the ground. They don't care about us. And then if they turn around and they're so out of touch. They just think like it's our fault if we can't survive. We need to bind together now, cleave to each other now more than ever, and like see each other's roles and honor those. Because at the end of the day, when you're struggling to survive, one of the only things that makes it worthwhile is having somebody at home. I just feel so bad saying this in a certain way. But having somebody that says, I appreciate you. Like I tell my husband every week, like, I appreciate how hard you work. I think most men would love that, right? You're going to all of society and asking for something that you should be cultivating within your own home. And I'm sorry that that's harder now more than ever. I get it, it is. But that's not the monolith that is women's fault. And like it's not for one gender to fix. It's us individuals as individuals, we need to work on ourselves. And I like turtles. Aw, that sucks because I like turtles too. You think I'm crazy? Do you know why Helen Keller was a bad driver? Because she was a woman. Well, so why do women pay cheaper car insurance rates? I know that was a joke and that was a funny joke. But algorithms are quantum mechanics, that's rocket surgery. But then somebody says there's more males than females that are insured. That's why their rates are higher. Can somebody explain that to me? I don't think that's how it works. That's always what somebody says to me when no, it's because young men especially cause the most accidents. That's what it is. It's not just because there's more of you. That's not how it works, and, makes more sense as a woman always wants control. Well, skiing, that's why I don't think women I think, okay, even if she's the most ball-busting, assertive businesswoman, I do believe that most women want a man at home they can submit to, and, like, the dynamics are so off, and women need to unpack the fact that, like, we were given different messages from opposite ends of the spectrum that, like, you won't be complete until a man saves you. Like, you have to be the damsel in distress, and he has to save you. Think about every single Disney movie. You're being saved. But at the same time, don't you dare save me. I'm a boss, babe. Like I can do it all on my own. I don't need no man. That's how you should be too. And like, so women need to unpack the messages we were given just as much as men do. But like, there's not such common sentiments. And I've said this before, and I think people get my point. I don't want men to feel bad. Like, if you think women shouldn't be able to vote, how do you think it feels as me to be a woman and to hear the most horrific things that take place in our society, always at the hand of a man? A man passed away on a subway. Another man came and raped his DEAD body. But so that man that raped a DEAD body should be able to vote because he had that thing that helped him rape a DEAD body, but I shouldn't be able to vote. Like this is what, and I get it. A lot of women are irrational. Okay, we're not hysterical. You can't institutionalize us anymore. That's where it's going next. Mark my words. By the year 2026, 27, people are going to start to say, oh, the uterus wanders in their body and causes them to be hysterical, and we should be able to institutionalize them at any sign of emotion. Meanwhile, we're the most aggressive people on the planet and commit over 90% of violent crimes. And we are the number one reason why pregnant women DIE in our country. It is the man that got them pregnant. is the number one cause of and that's what like that is so scary to me for so many reasons. It's not about men versus women. The dynamics between men and women are so bad. And is that not proof? Is that not proof we don't honor children and the family unit? And like this red pill rhetoric that's like men are just like dying to like be providers and how like I didn't experience that in 38 years of life. I never once heard a man talk about how he couldn't wait to provide for a family. I'm sorry, I haven't. I didn't. We fell into it. Our kids needed extra help, and I dropped out of school. I didn't work for a few years. Home educated them. We fell into that for a few personal reasons, and like everything worked out great. And I couldn't imagine if at any point my husband held that over my head because he didn't. And I've said this before, I think the breadwinner should have more say financially. Like, I think if you're making all the money, you should be able to decide what happens with it, you know? And there's just so many things going on that's like, is somebody who's lived it for almost 2 decades in my life. When I see the way that other people talk about it online, yeah, there's so many different conversations to have, you guys. And I feel like I've been really off tonight, honestly. Um, I had a really bad hernia flare up this week. I went to Dinosaur World with two of my kids. Horrible, horrific hernia pain. If any of you have had a hernia, my heart goes out to you. Most days it doesn't bother me. Most days when it does bother me, it's not that bad. But since I couldn't get off my feet, it was just like tremendous, horrible pain anytime I walked or was on my feet for like 3 days straight. And yeah. Once again, like I know men, it's a hernia that mostly affects men, an inguinal hernia. It's like in the groin area. And this is mostly common in men because of lifting heavy objects. So, like, and I've had high testosterone, a lot of men. I don't know if I empathize with men more as a high testosterone woman, but I really want to come across as that the most. I don't think I do all the time because it's just, forgive me, it does. It gets to me when my peers are saying that I shouldn't have the same rights as them. It does, and I think it would get to a lot of people, but it's not productive to just sit and be mad about it and point the fingers, right? And that is the whole point of my content, and I want to make more content about self-sustainability. What can we do to move forward as a society when everything's crumbling all around us? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Everybody's trying to heal from generational insults, and men and women included. You are only responsible for your own feelings. That's like the number one thing you will learn from any good therapist. Like, you can't point the fingers at somebody and say, "You made me feel this certain way. It's your fault." You are responsible for your own feelings. So, if you're walking around really hateful and bitter, it's a good thing. You can take care of that. You can remedy it yourself. It's all in your head. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I mean that in a sincerely, like, all you have to do is instead of rehearsing the same lines and sitting in the same echo chambers, turn it around. Everything that you're thinking negatively, even if you have to make written affirmations, write this stuff down. Write it down like Bart Simpson, the same sentence over and over again for a little while. Put written affirmations on your mirror. About the things that you want to think about. I'm not talking about misogyny. I'm talking about like the positive things, reminders of what you can do to improve yourself in your life. And like instead of walking around thinking about how horrible this world is, like one thing, having a yard, I know not everybody does, but being able to get out in nature, if I couldn't step outside and walk around and look at my garden and my flowers and stuff, I would be so much worse off mentally. And I feel so badly for people that don't have that. Um, so yeah, men need women more, in my opinion. I wouldn't say this if I didn't feel the real push. Like a pushback is needed. Men benefit from marriage. Statistically, men live longer, their health fares better, they have more social, more social status, more friends. Uh, when men lose their wife, they get remarried within 2 years on average. And it's flipped for women. Women have more health issues when they're married. Women die sooner when they're married. Women, I don't think the social thing is true because they're the ones that help the men, stay in touch with the relatives and the friends on average. There's always exceptions, right? There's always exceptions, but this is like if these statistics were flipped, that's like all the red pill would bring up is like, hey, like you guys, like you have to remarry within 2 years because you literally die without us on average more often. And they want to go back to the way it was before women infiltrated the workforce and voted Big Daddy government into office. And we can go back into one income households if only women submit. Never mind the tax dollars that we've sent to everyone else in the world spent on wars we shouldn't have fought. It's women's fault because they're the ones who vote liberal. We are all human. If you're Christian, we are all fallen and mortal. We are all part of a messed up system that is arguably getting worse. This rhetoric insinuates men have done more to build society than women and could keep it running without us. It gives men excuses to look down on women and think we are all less than, which is misogyny. It's pure misogyny. We need each other. Stop becoming the same as the man hating feminists you equate everyone to that doesn't think women are less than men. Saying you don't need no woman, not for infrastructure society or anything, is the same exact same thing as the feminist man hating, I don't need no man women. The systems are failing. The systems are inept at sustaining functional societies. And it's not women getting rights that are at fault for anything bad. I think I've made my point. I am glad that Trump won. I don't consider myself political, Alejandro. I just don't. I think they're two sides of the same coin. I do lean towards the right, and I'm more conservative minded. I consider myself a centrist. What truth was freely given to me, Ski? Or Sky? Is it Ski or Sky? That doesn't sound accurate. On average, the wife lives longer than the husband. People in long-term marriages, like women, I know what you're talking about, women's lifespan on average. Women live longer, even longer when they're not married. Does that make sense? Women who don't get married, it's just obvious in the numbers. And like so once again, this isn't man bashing. I don't feel like that with my husband. I genuinely don't feel like okay, I feel like we've been through a lot of shit together because we basically grew up together because I met him when I was 18 years old and I got married to him when I was 22. And we both came from the kind of background that was like both of our parents told us if it doesn't work out, you just get divorced and marry somebody else. Like, oh, we both come from households where like both of our moms are married like 4 times and um like just to think about how normalized that was, like, and I get it, don't stay in an abusive situation, don't stay just for the kids, like, I don't agree with that, but the push that we were given, like, the average age of the first baby used to be 18, and then it's 28, it's like, I know as a woman, like, we were pushed away from motherhood, we were pushed away from being wives, like, they pushed us away from it, and now all of society is like, "Why don't you wanna do this?" And I can tell you from experience, when I was being a stay-at-home mom, it was absolutely isolating, and women do it to each other. It's not just men. I never sat back and thought, "Oh, this is so horrible because men hate us all so much." It was like, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're automatically compared to everybody who isn't, and then everybody who is, especially. But and then like the homeschooling moms. Oh my gosh, I knew this one homeschooling mom. She'd like post her schedule and like, good for her. She was amazing, okay? But like, she would post her schedule, like showing off how full her schedule was with her kids, because it's always a competition with women. And the social media has exasperated that. It is absolutely evil and awful. Women need to get over it. We can be so great together when we don't look at each other as competition. Like I genuinely like I don't feel like I'm typical neurologically and I don't know. Jay Hardy thinks women are great. Jay Hardy, you're 47, right? I'm sorry to call you out, but you're 47, 48 years old. Do you feel like there has been like the men that you're around? I hope you're still in here. Do you feel like they're getting more hateful towards women like in the last 10 years? I don't know if you were in here earlier, but there was a teacher whose comment I saw that just struck me as so insightful. He said he taught for 30 years from 1990 to 2021 or 1991 to 2020, what something like that. In the first 20 years of teaching, male students would talk consistently, like, would say good things about their mothers, like, "She's always there for me, I love my mom so much." And then in the last 10 years of his teaching, so, like, 2010 to 2020, it like, a switch flipped, and the male students would say things like, "Oh, I'm such a bother, my mom wants nothing to do with me," and that was so incredibly sad. And so I'm thinking, like, it's not just, like, I'm sorry, men hating on women that is causing women to be less than ideal, especially as far as motherhood. It's like everything points towards the internet and social media. Everything. Everything. The marriage rates started consistently going down around 99. That was when the internet was started becoming a thing, right? Billionaires and greedy people versus us men and women. Yes, A2. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Exactly. And like the way we can be so strong and the synergy that comes from a family unit, like you need the strength of a man. I needed my husband to start the lawnmower earlier today. I literally couldn't physically do it myself. Like he also like benefits and needs the strength I have in the ways that I have it, and and it's great to feel that, and it makes me so sad that so many people don't feel that. There's kind of misogyny and hating down on women and not like looking like it the domestic duty, labor and once again, I don't think women should get paid for it. I need to make a video on that. There's so much going around. Like people would probably assume I'm one of those women that's like, make sure you have a savings account and your husband's giving you a monthly wage if you're going to stay at home and raise his babies. They're your children too. It's for your own benefit, your own children's benefit too. It is a privilege to have somebody who wants to have a family with you and will go and make the money so you can be able to sustain that family, make sure your kid is safe and the best, you know, has the best of the best in their most formative years of life. That's absolutely amazing. And we're all like drifting farther apart from that. Like there's like a lot of harmful rhetoric coming from like the feminist side that I think people are like, oh, feminism, and they generally like make that general statement, feminism is why everything is happening the way that it is. Be careful with that. I'm sure some of it, yes, but like in general, just women getting rights it's not. Jay Hardy, do you think that men are I don't know how many young men you're around with your job and everything, skinny. I wanna say who you said you agree with, Jay. Ski, not skinny. By the way, I love your courage to get on here and share your perspective. You are doing a great thing. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you for saying that. It can I get lucky in Kentucky, Thomas? I don't know. Can you, Thomas? It's really not easy, but at the same time, I don't want to say that to be like, oh, feel sorry for me, guys, because it's a blessing. I've been able to grow my channel and get monetized. I didn't think I'd get monetized this year or within a year, and I got monetized in July. And I really do have fun. Like I was kind of like, oh, I need to go live because I haven't for 5 days. But I wanted to share with you guys that like I'm going to stick with a schedule. I'm going to do members only live streams on Mondays, so tomorrow. And if there's any members that like want to make sure, like I know you probably I just wanna go live when the most people can catch it. So if anybody has a recommendation for a time, on Monday, I was thinking about maybe trying to do one in the AM and one in the PM too, to give people in different time zones a chance to catch it. And like those may or may not go public depending on, how good they are, whatever the subject is. But good men will always be the ones that have to lay down their life and enforce your rights in any society. Raphael, I understand, of course, when you're talking about like, but against who and why? It's because of the men that are the threat. It's the bad men that the good men are shielding us all from. You know what I mean? It's not women getting rights. And that's what is like going on with this. Most women would agree that like we should honor and respect the sacrifices that men make when they make those sacrifices. What about women who risk their lives? Like when I look back on the fact that I had babies, I've been pregnant for 3 years of my life and nursed babies for 4 years of my life. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. Like it exhausts me thinking about it. And it really is amazing what women's bodies do and how, like, right after giving birth, I don't know if other women, literally right after giving birth, my first thought was like, I can't wait to do this again. I want to do this again. When can I have another baby? It's like you're just like designed to be like, oh, like that was incredibly difficult, but at the same time, the most exhilarating, incredible experience of my life, and I want to do it again. And I just think the way that humans are designed are so amazing. And it's like to work together and to share in life together. Like we've gotten spoiled when we're at the point where like I'm included, sitting around arguing about like who has it worse or if one half left, how bad would the other half be? Or like, could you even, I've made a video about matriarchal societies. There are some matriarchal societies still left. Yes, a lot of them are quite primitive, what is wrong with being primitive in this world where anybody who is industrialized is literally destroying the planet? We're irradiating our shrimp. With Fukushima, hello. Like, remember when Fukushima happened? Is the whole ocean not irradiated by now? People don't even talk about it anymore. Like, so people who live off the land and haven't destroyed the planet, I look up to those people. You might look at them like, and look at their teeth, look at their hair. Yeah, I love me some African tribal. Like they're perfect examples of health. Key Walker. In the end, may we all come together no matter. That is such a beautiful sentiment. Thank you for the super chat. And I completely agree. And I feel like I have to be more combative than I want to be because like I want to come at these things with my rebuttals, right? And then it's like I feel like this every time I walk away. I'm like, oh, I just don't want people to. I don't want to come off as a man hater. Do I hope I don't come off as a man hater? Men have it way worse. You're ridiculous. We just don't complain about it much. Nathan, you do not complain about a lot of things. Okay, so I don't want to say either has it worse. I've said women. Okay, did I say women have it worse? I'm sorry if I did say that. I'm saying women have to go through their own plight, right? Women have to bleed once a month. Um, a story about a woman that had sex with her 15-year-old stepson. You know what I'm talking about? She just got sentenced this month. It happened last September. One of the most disturbing things I've ever heard in my life, and this sheriff, oh my God, I'm getting upset. This detective talking to the boy's dad was like, I really want you to know this boy has nobody. He has nobody advocating for him. This boy, nobody in his life. His own mother told him not to go to the cops. His own grandpa, the grandpa that he got taken to the night it happened, his dad told him, you ruined my life. Don't tell your grown wife with the fully developed frontal lobe that. Tell the 15-year-old boy. Oh my God, it makes me so mad. And just think about how many boys, so many men I know have stories like that. I do think that like molestation with boys is such a problem we don't acknowledge. And like once men do it to each other, like as soon as a boy comes out and talks, the grandpa told him not to go to the cops. And like as soon as we see in the comment sections, men will be like, oh, he wanted it, or we all wanted a teacher to come on to us and stuff like that. And it's like, no, we need to like protect our young people. That's part of what is so messed up about this whole system. And that was like a pretty famous case. It was like so disturbing. And it really brings up like, yeah, how many men do suffer in silence when it comes to sexual abuse? My first boyfriend, he had a story like that. Like nothing happened, but like his babysitter like tried to put the moves on him and it freaked him out. He wanted to save himself for marriage. He was like disturbed, like telling me about it. And I'm glad I had these experiences. I think a lot of women have never had experiences like that with men before. They've never had a man like tell them about something traumatic and like it gets lost upon them and it is sad. Like they don't know what they don't know. Uh, it seems like every man I've ever gotten close to has some story of some creepy older woman being a pervert. And it's a problem. All the wars we have fought, like my grandfather, have some appreciation. I do have appreciation for that, Nathan. My grandpa also fought in wars. But I hope you understand where I'm coming from. It's not about either side doing more than the other. It's like if you're going to say men's purpose is to build society and enforce the safety of others and give us our freedom, absolutely. Can you not understand where I'm coming from? That's like, well, women can't do those things, but women have done this. And I'm not trying to be patronizing. It's just the truth. More women risk their lives more often. I basically went to war 3 times. I'm not trying to I know war is horrible. I've known people who personally fought in Afghanistan on the front lines, okay? And I've seen what that did to those people. And I would never try to say, I do more than them. And I don't want to come off as that. I'm saying if their lot in life is to, fulfill the masculine roles such as that, like women's aren't just to sit here and be a whole. I'm sorry to be vulgar, but like where do people like that think that we're supposed to take it with women? Like, what's women's duty in life then? You know, to make sandwiches. And it'd be different if you really, if people that were like, oh no, homemaker is so important and like to give nutrition, to keep a home clean, like sanitation, nutrition, those things are so incredibly serious, especially to developing bodies. And women that take those jobs and like do them right, they are special because they're not getting paid, you know? And it's like you don't get these accolades. And like if we did revere women, that doesn't mean we think they're better than men who risk their lives on the battlefield, but we're like, "Hey, this is really cool that like she did sacrifice a lot." And it's like we literally can't sacrifice the same things, and that's the yin and yang that makes the complementary balance so beautiful. We are meant to be in union together since the beginning, Ski said. Exactly. She shouldn't be jailed. She should be a wood chipper candidate. What does that mean, Bill? Are you talking about me? That's such a creepy thing to say. I will be married 26 years this coming March. Memo, my wife doesn't do YouTube, Mr. Carey said. That's so cool. 26 years in 2026. We're here to discuss, yeah, it is not an attack, as you already know. Raphael, I did not mute you. If I did, it was an accident, but I don't think I muted anybody. So important to have a good moral compass. Yeah, Juan, and that's something that seems to really be lacking. Nathan, well, seems you are all over the place, but comparing war to what you have done is crazy. Nathan, I'm saying if a man's lot in life is to build society, be responsible for things like infrastructure, the brute force, physical labor that women simply can't, won't ever be able to do, is most, for the most part, right? I'm speaking in generalizations. Most men are stronger than most women, but there's always exceptions. I saw there's some girl working on an oil rig, and maybe she's just doing it for TikTok, you know, like I'll give you that. But like, there's with technology, that gap is closing, you know, like women can do more. And it's like if you're going to say we should respect men for the sacrifices they do, but you don't understand where I'm coming from. Well, we should respect women. That I'm sorry, that shows how little you really do value life. And the fact that every human that is born is a miracle. All the things that could go wrong with a pregnancy in a human body, like it's an absolute miracle when somebody brings life to earth. And it is a privilege. It is the duty of certain women that choose to do it. And that is absolutely something that could be commended because nobody would be able to go to war, build society, to do literally anything. It's like the chicken or the egg, you know, like it's undeniable how important women's role is because there'd literally be no civilization. Like in Sparta, men who died in battle got headstones. Like they were the only people in society. The only other people that did were the women who died during childbirth. And I'm not trying to like discredit men who die during war. I'm saying like a lot of people have given their lives to move forward with civilization. Our ancestors stand before us, you know, and I honor all of that. I would disagree, but I don't want you to be a Karen about it. If you can abide by that, I'll start. Daddy Zaddy, I'm not a Karen. You can say whatever you want, just, you know, as long as it's not like creepy or like disrespectful. So I started this because it's something that I've seen so often, okay? And I know a lot of you probably have too, this rhetoric that men run society and men could take it all away. That's what it always is like and when somebody said it to me, when I was just talking about like, and I don't, once again, I don't think it's a good thing that like women seem to be doing better than men, buying houses, getting college degrees, all in all these ways. Like, I think it shows the rift that is ever widening, and that's not good for any of us. There's going to be nobody to wipe our butts at the old people's home at this rate. You know, my generation is going to be the first to really see the implications of this lowering, stagnating birth rate. And like, I personally, I'm okay with it. Like, I'll be okay with being neglected as an elderly person if it means some kind of revolution that needs to happen, you know? Like, I think this is where we can like look at each other and be like, okay, so what are the answers? What I would like somebody who doesn't agree with me to tell me what exactly is a woman like me supposed to do when a man says, whatever you've done with your life, it's only been because of all the men. And if they didn't do what they did, they could just like easily take it away from all of you. Like, what is a woman supposed to do with that? And have I not worked just as hard? Is, anybody who works in the same, you know what I mean? Men get conditional love. That means we don't think men are better than women, Sirius said. That's That's really I think too many people in what is supposed to be unconditionally loving relationships like marriages give conditional love, and that is a problem. And Syria, if you're still here, I've said it before, I think men's love is rarer but stronger. Like when a man is bonded and committed to a woman, and that's why like men are less likely to like cheat and file for divorce in a marriage. I think that's because I think the cheating, they're like, right? Men can be so much more loyal and loving in certain ways than we give them credit for. And absolutely, it's like the women. Steven said, I spread my legs to guys who have been to war, who were in war. So I've also been to that war. No, no, it wasn't like that. Ski, it has become a generational epidemics. So I've been married for 15 years, just so you know, whoever's oh, Stephen, if you're still in here. And my husband isn't a vet. Nathan, equal opportunities is fine, but sacrificing merit for that to happen is the problem. Oh, okay, Nathan. No, I agree with you. So I'm sorry. I'm sincerely sorry if I come off as that, and I'm glad for your feedback because I need to refine this because I don't wanna turn off even more people, like, the people that I'm trying to get to open their minds. I don't think I'm gonna change their minds, but if I could be an influence for some of these men that just seem to think these horrible things about women, um, we need each other. Like, we need those men who go and sacrifice themselves, and we need to be mindful of the fact that, like, yeah, men can't give life, but they do something just as important. They literally sacrifice their lives for, like, the betterment. Like, they are the head of the family unit, ideally, and that is a big deal. And I think that's what's missing from so many men's lives. And it's so sad to me. Like, as horrible as this world is, as hard as it is, if you have a home to come home to and, some pets, some little beings that love you and are happy to see you, like in a spouse that respects you and just wants to make your life easier and more peaceful, um, you're blessed and you're wealthy in a way that a lot of people with monetary wealth don't have. Look at Elon Musk. He's spazzing out on the internet all the time. He'll never have the kind of true love that a lot of us have. They're just like plain old blue collar workers because like we need each other so much. And it's that synergy that you work off of. I know I couldn't do the things that my husband does. Like, and I really do like appreciate him so much for that. Like I said, like it's like a long running joke. Like, it's like foreplay. I'm sorry to be too like, seeing him do certain physical things, I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, just, like, maneuvering big vehicles, like, when we had to move from Florida to Kentucky to Florida once, we got the biggest U-Haul, that thing's like a semi. Um, oh, Jay Hardy, "We do what we do for a woman." Okay, thank you for getting me back on track, Jay Hardy, and thank you for the super chat. That's what I was gonna say. It makes me so sad that there are less men that have that, and that's what I think. Like that's what they need. That's what they want. And it's not about women getting more rights. It's about this horrible system that has taken so much energy from all of us just to survive. And if you can, form a good partnership with somebody, it's hard as hell. Marriage has its ebbs and flows. Like it's not all peachy. It is very hard, but, like, ideally, it gets easier and easier, and it is all worth it because this world sucks and life is, like, really freaking hard. And if I ever came off as, like, I just think it's so different, like, a man sacrificing his life in war is so different from a woman who dies during childbirth, but they're equal for the genders. Does that make sense? I don't wanna come off as, like, I think that all women we need to play our roles to perpetuate society moving forward. And um, yeah, I think I am pretty much done. If anybody has any questions or anything they want to say, yes, we do need each other, but I will not say nothing when we start getting into the weeds on the subject, Nathan said. Well, Nathan, I appreciate your input and what you did say. And like wars are just so different. There's so much less frontline combat. Like I said, like one of my friends from high school was on the front lines in Afghanistan, and honestly, it was a little, I yeah. I wish I didn't have the perspective that he gave me, honestly. That's all I'll say about that. I really feel for any man that's been put in that position. And thankfully, it's less and less with technology. I don't think any war should be fought. I think it's all bad. And it's all a rich man's game to, um, thank you, Jay Hardy. To basically like men's lives are expendable. So it's like I have mixed feelings because I know it's necessary. I feel like that about the military now. I have the utmost respect for anybody in the military. I tell my sons not to join it. You know what I mean? Because I don't want my sons going off to fight in a rich man's war. But at the same time, I teach my sons to respect everybody who does. It's not about being like, oh, we're smarter or better than the soldiers. It's like it's just this world. And it, the technology, the ability we have to communicate now, I don't think that there should be wars. And the only biggest reason there is to keep us all divided, but also to like the war machine. Like they make so much money off of just being in a war. And that's obvious. I didn't know that until a few years ago. And it's lost upon a lot of people. A lot of people are so ignorant. They really think like, why would they want to perpetuate wars? Ski, you are simply reaching out and sharing your philosophy and opinions. It is always welcome, and I'm grateful you are courageous enough to do so. Oh, you're so nice, Ski. Thank you. Yeah. Where did you hear that men cheat less? BF, I don't. Thank you. I don't know exactly where I heard that. I know I've heard like, and I think it's very slight. I think they're pretty similar, but like once a man is married, he cheats less. I'm pretty sure if somebody doesn't care to like verify that, it's like in relationships before marriage, men cheat more. Once a man is married, he tends to cheat less than that woman who is married. So, it's just interesting. These are statistics, you can skew to statistics to look like anything you want them to. It's just the best thing we have to look at and make sense out of stuff, but I'm not like trying to make it like the end all be all. But if you want to be like, um, men have built a society. Okay, well, women were kept out of building a lot of society too. But so, what is going on with the numbers now? Like, what is going on with that? And how much longer are we going to sit around and focus on like those? And I think it's great to bring light to the hard jobs. Like, seriously, I've done that on my channel so much. Like, there are so many men that literally break their backs. So we all have houses, air conditioning, plumbing. Oh my gosh, electrical, plumbing. It's just amazing what some men do, roofers and all sorts of weather. Every time I see anybody working a hard job, like out in the elements, I immediately say a prayer for them. I know I'm not the only person. I'm not trying to sound like a saint or anything, but like there's plenty of people that respect. And that's what I believe is so important. Like we are walking batteries. You look at a woman and you think, oh, that little bitch, her life's so easy. She must have had it so easy. She doesn't know how easy her life is. You have no idea. She might have just gotten major surgery 5 months ago to narrowly avoid getting a serious kind of cancer, and she's still healing from it. Like it's so much more important to like not have an opinion, or like if you do have one to like think positively. Like it will only serve you better, and every cell in your body is going to be better off. Let me look through the comments and make sure I'm not missing anything. Thank you again, Jay Hardy. Nathan said everything you have has been built and maintained by good hardworking men. Okay, Nathan, if you're still in here, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to do any differently? You know what I mean? I mean that sincerely. This is a sentiment that I see thrown around so much, and that's what it's like. It's what are we? Where do we go from here? So I admit men do most of the hardest physical jobs. We need men for the infrastructure of society. It is so important. But do you also understand, like, there'd be none of those men if women didn't. Have you ever been around a pregnant woman and seen a baby roll around in her stomach and like the feet and the hands push out and you're like, whoa, it's like a alien in there. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing that our bodies are built for that? I think it's amazing that men are strong and they have the endurance to do all the things that they do, and that they literally break their backs to do it for the betterment of all of us. I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing that women go through what they go through so we can all keep moving forward, right? Gary, are you getting off of here or who is leaving? Good night to you, Gary, if you're going. They seek to destroy the family. I completely agree. Well, completely. And that's what is so sad. And it's like these people, they seem they want a woman. They want to be king of their castle and have a woman as their queen in their castle. Don't we all? Like, isn't that the ideal for most people, right? Not everybody, but most people. I feel like Donald Trump with my hands. Like, you're never gonna get that. Like, you're just pushing that farther away from you. The more you like incite the misogynistic rhetoric, and I really want to know, like, where do we go for from here? Okay, women were kept out of most institutions for most of written history. You know, like women were literally oppressed and not allowed to help build society in the ways that they could have, right? Like in the educational institutions and what have you. What are we supposed to do? It's just, and that's where we come to this roadblock. It's like I love saying sir. Women don't like being called ma'am, right? Women get mad at you when you call them ma'am. Jay Hardy, it is amazing, and a smile goes a long way. Yes, exactly. And this world is so much harder for all of us, and it's like we want to be your peace. That's what we want to be your peace. We want to be the best version of ourselves for the most part. I think there's so many factors playing into environmental, hormonal, birth control. I think birth control has a lot to do with it. Even if you aren't using it at the moment, it's like in our water supply. And to always have the perspective, like really stoic perspective. I think I'm gonna get off of here after I say this thought, just so you guys know. If there's anything else you want me to say, of course, no man said repeal the 19th. Oh my gosh, and then I completely lost my train of thought. Respecting ignorant mercenaries called military isn't always virtuous, so don't worry about bowing to those persons yet. We feel sorry for their poor decisions. Yeah, I mean, it's necessary though. They are necessary, right? And like when, okay, so men want to talk about women not working the hard jobs, but during World War II, we stepped in and worked all the jobs, right? Didn't women do that? Am I wrong? And like and that's what's so beautiful about marriage. Like it changes from season to season, year to year. Like you take on different roles at different times in your life for whatever reason. And like that's what's so beautiful about having that partnership. It's not about being squared away in your exact gender roles, and like sometimes it has to be, right? Bill, I've been a bricklayer for 31 years. Watching the young ones coming through is becoming a joke. The adage, hard times produce hard men, soft times produce soft men, is definitely showing through. Oh, Bill, that is so sad to me. So, do you think it's like the participation trophies culture? Do you think it's like being raised on a screen? See, I wanted to end this on a positive note, and I totally lost my train of thought. I was like, I'm going to leave it on this. Um, and I'm so mad at myself for losing my train of thought. Jay Hardy, you have a good night. And like, I go back and forth on the Discord, almost, Neil, yeah, like Rosie the Riveter. I started a Discord and it's like I didn't like how they asked me for pronouns, okay? I put adult human female and then I Googled it. I was like, will I get banned from Discord for putting adult human female as my pronouns? And I was like, yeah, because it's like hateful speech or whatever. It's like I'm so sick of this shit. That's like they as people seem to be heightening the misogynistic rhetoric, we're like literally unable to be like people can't even say what we are. You know what I mean? Like where people want us to lose rights, and at the same time they're like erasing the literal definition of a woman. Legalese matters. Not being able to say the legal definition of what makes a woman this is like what is going on in our society? It is so crazy and warped on so many levels. And why is that like not the same as a man? Why is it so hyper focused on the transitioning to women when there's technically more women transitioning into men, but you don't hear about them as much? And in my opinion, I think that's part of the problem. Bill, definitely the everyone is a champion theory and the fact family unity has gone along with respect. They all want 100K a year, but won't work for it. So yeah, once again, this teacher said this thing where in 30 years of teaching, he noticed boys talking about their moms significantly different in the last 10 years of teaching. And that really struck me. And I think it's social media, there's so much going on. There's so many things that we need to unpack. And that's why I want to keep this as a series. This was like antidote, meaning like these I keep using the word rhetoric. I don't know what else to say. Rhetoric that is often found on online spaces and like unpacking that and saying like, why do people say this? And like, what, where, once again, where do we go from here? What is the point of pointing out that men do what men do, right? Like, I get it. But what are we as women supposed to feel when you say like the only reason we have what we have? It's like, um, what is that? I'm blanking. DEI. It's like DEI. Like we don't go through life, all of life, DEI because we're a woman. I know that's how like some men think because in their mind, they see women as an object, good for one thing, they're tools. And like that they just, like, think that, like, all women are there to be used and are useful tools, basically. If you looked at us as human beings that we're all born innocent babies, we all struggle and go through different stuff, and we were all put for different purposes, and, like, women weren't here just to be, like, under men's thumb, and, like, if we see the work we were meant to do together, it is such a beautiful I keep saying the word synergy because it really is something that until you experience it, it's a cycle. You propel each other forward, and yes, the strength that a man has, you use that strength, you help build a life with a woman, she will give you tenfold back. A good woman will help you build a great life. I often say I wouldn't be a homeowner if it wasn't for my husband, but at the same time, would my husband have been a homeowner? If it wasn't for us having a family together, like you motivate each other, and that's what people are lacking, and that's what is so sad. Like, if you want a partner in life and you are a good person, willing to improve, be better today than you were yesterday, like you deserve to have that. And like people aren't going to get that if they walk around thinking these things. I really do believe with all my heart, they're putting these harmful rhetoric in people's heads to implode the nuclear family before it even starts at this point. Like it's unreal. And you're walking around thinking women only date the top 10% of alphas. They only go for chads. Women don't like men as short as me. Women will never like me. Like you're just like a walking battery exuding all of that energy. And like women are intuitive. Like because we're not the physically more strong ones, we had to develop our intuition more. And like they pick up on that. Like as a man, if you can be confident, if you've got your own thing going on, if you're motivated and like it can take you so far. And really had something better that I wanted to end it with that was like super positive. I'm gonna be so mad when I think about it. She gonna give you everything you need if you give her everything you got, then more. Oh, yeah, but you should never give so much of yourself that it's ruining yourself personally. You should always be whole without that person. You know what I mean? As like as great as a partnership is, and that's the thing, I think so many men, they get with women who take from them, and that you should try to that's what we need to talk about with young men. Stop just, like, giving them misogynistic talking points. Like, this is how you suss out a good woman, you know? How do you know within the first few dates, within the first few months, in the first few years, like, let's be real, like, women are good at masking their real personalities or, like, their real deficits more so than men. There's those psychopathic men that are good at masking their deficits too, don't get me wrong. But like I think I really do feel for men because of the way they're socialized. Um it's easy for them to just like throw their hands up and be like, "Oh, they're awful." But we can all work together. I'm going to start reading from my she book again. I'm sorry. I not just I messed up a lot of people. Charlie Kirk's death really messed with me. This everything going on with our country, I need to get back on track. I've been blessed with a monetized YouTube channel. Thank you that Jay Hardy, like he's always been really supportive. If you can't donate, and my buy me a coffee is another way you can donate. Just your views and your input. Like I hope that shows. Like I sincerely appreciate people like Nathan who stick with me. Like let's talk about this. Let's be an example for other people that like two people can come together and talk about something and learn something from each other. And like we're all here to learn from each other. And like I don't want to come off at all as like I'm equating women dying in childbirth to men dying in war. But I think if you have to equate the sacrifice of a man going to war to what is a woman's life purpose, you know? I just don't know what else to say. Is like the ultimate sacrifice. that men give is their lives for all of us. And it does happen in way more ways than just war, you know? It happens with their energy and time. And at the end of the day, like so many men exude so much energy and work so hard for our infrastructure, for our society, that like it, we need to be kinder and more gentler to them. We need to help them. They're crying out for help, and I don't mean that, and I mean that with all my heart. Like, I feel for them. I'm not saying that like, oh, they're poor little babies. I don't mean that at all. Like, we need each other, and we all suffer. The more and more men suffer. And Nathan, I appreciate you talking to me. I'll give you that. Oh, thank you, Nathan. We can't ever really compete with each other. You know, I don't think we're supposed to. I think we're we're definitely supposed to be complementary. And this, like, it's really hard to talk about these subjects and not come off as divisive myself and not come off as like man versus woman myself, because then I want to come back with the rebuttals. Well, from the woman's side, it's this and that. But I don't think, I know, I don't think at all. I think most men are good, as much as I say what I say about 91% of violent crime. Um, Jay Hardy, thank you. I think most men are good at heart, or this whole world would have gone to shit a lot sooner than it already is. Because most men are so good. Like my husband, he is like everything good that a man can be. And like if you have a man like that in your life, you need to like hang on to them and cling to them. We need to be teaching women that too. You find a good person early in life, even at quit talking young people out of getting married in their 20s. Gosh, that's just something that gets to me. It's like we're all talking about the birth rate. Well, maybe if we didn't tell people that like it's like just crazy for them to settle down anytime before the age of 35, we'd be having more babies right now. I won't cry, Carl. I don't like crying in front of people. Wednesday Adams from Adams Family. It's always anybody with light skin and dark hair. I've been told I look like um Winona Ryder. I know I don't look like her. I wish I looked like her. I wish I had her boobs. I totally looked like, who else has light skin and dark hair? The woman that passed away from cancer, Shannon Doherty. Is that her name? I know I don't look like her. You know, it's like everybody says I look like anybody with my coloring. Sebastian, I don't think necessarily that we need to have a lot more babies, but I would like to see people be happier and like the relationships be better off, you know? And Nathan said I have been with and witnessed extremely abusive women. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I don't know if you heard it, Nathan, but earlier I was talking about I think the sexual abuse to boys is way worse than what we think. Because when it happens to boys, everybody in their life is like, oh, don't talk about it. It's just oh, it's so wrong. And there's definitely abusive women. I never want to come off as I think that women as a whole, like I don't look as women as like a monolith. I think that everybody's getting worse. Men and women alike. Yeah, I know I don't look like Winona, trust me. You can have some of my man. Mr. Carey, you're so fun. Okay. We need more American babies from good families, not foreigners with 15 kids and zero civility, Chris said. I know, it's, I know, and, like, the town we left from Indiana, like, a bunch of immigrants from South and Central America, that I couldn't go to Walmart without, like, kids just running around. They just, like, take all their toddlers, they have, like, 5 kids under the age of 8, and they just, like, let them run around. Oh, not all Hispanic people, okay? Not all Hispanic people, but, like, so many of them, oh my gosh, and, that is something that is scary when you see that they're doing, like I think people should be able to worship. It's just odd to me to see cities like Dearborn play call to prayer a few times. What is it, 3 times a day? It's like I want to be like, oh, that's cool, but at the same time, it's like, one day is it going to be all cities playing? On that note, I think I better get off of here before I say too much, because I definitely have no problem with any religious. It's always these extremists from each religion, and what's going on right now in the Middle East is absolutely heartbreaking, and I don't agree with the genocide that's taken place at all. So, like, I feel like I can't bring up Islam without saying that what's going on is absolutely inexcusable and horrible. And we should all feel blessed to be just sitting pretty talking to each other on the internet, right? The divorce rate is higher among younger people. I understand that. That's a good point, Be Fidel. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. I just think that if we focus on just all relationships and mental health, we'll be better off. Not everybody's supposed to get married in their 20s. I just don't think it should be discouraged across the board the way that it is. And part of that could help the divorce rate. I think premarital counseling is really important, especially the younger you are, especially if you're in your 20s. You should spend like a year in counseling, just talking about like what you want. How many kids do you want? How do you see yourself disciplining those kids, educating those kids? Like a lot of things people don't talk about. And they get married and figure out they're not in alignment. Send me location. You're a professional MMA fighter. That's cool. So I'm going to say this and I'm going to go. I'm going to start a regular schedule. Mondays will be members only live streams. I know I haven't done much with my members only. I really want to start something like this, like every Sunday, have a same kind of like social topic. And then I want to have a video. It might be an edited upload where it's like I'm sticking to the homesteading, gardening, self sustainability permaculture, like that kind of thing is gonna be on the same day every week, and then we're gonna have a live stream discussing, chronically online content like this every week, and I do wanna start doing arts and crafts on Twitch, and I'll let you guys know the link to that when I start doing that, but I really wanna get, like, really regular. Yes, I have green eyes, and I really am gonna my goal is to, like, stick with the schedule, do 2. I know it's kind of, a lofty ambitions. Do 2 edited uploads a week. I'm not gonna say what days for sure they're gonna be, but I'm gonna start making them on regular days. 2 live streams, 1 members on no, I'm sorry, 2 members only live streams and 1 public live stream. So, if you want to make sure you catch my members only, I also have some edited videos for members only. Most of them are old content, which is kind of fun. Don't get married, men, not in the West. Okay, new moon. I just want to say this, and then I need to go. My father-in-law wasn't living with a woman. She had a handwritten will and got most of his estate. This man worked his whole life, died when he was 80 years old, and a woman who didn't even live with him, wasn't engaged to him, okay? Got most of what he built up his whole life. And she's with a doctor in his 90s right now. Don't tell me this woman isn't a black widow, in my opinion. So I say that as a cautionary tale. Common law rules exist. Like, just know your legislation in your state if you are in a serious relationship with anybody. And if you think you're just messing around with her and she's fun, for a good time, and I'm not saying this is what happened with him at all. I'm not saying this, but like it might not be worth that good time, you know? A few minutes of pleasure might not be worth your family fighting in court over all your assets. And like they weren't married, they weren't even engaged, they didn't even live together. So um you just need to always have a plan, have a will filed with an attorney, and your loved ones make sure they know where that will is filed. My friend married a Chinese woman. She is great, just saying, "Yeah, well, if is he staying in China?" It seems like a lot of these men that are marrying the foreign women because they are more traditional minded, just give them a few years. They assimilate to everybody. The people who immigrate here, within 3 generations, they're having the same amount of babies as the birth rate around them. So, like, they do have more babies for a little while, but the third generation of that, they just like the rest of us. And I think that's super interesting, and I'm the granddaughter of a Colombian immigrant. My grandma came here in the 50s to get a master's degree. Like, um, just because a woman comes from like an impoverished country doesn't mean that she's not a badass independent bitch, basically. I would be really careful. I would be more wary of getting taken advantage of from a woman in one of those situations. I don't, but no, I'm saying that it can be great, and I wish your friend the best, Nathan. She is traditional. What a difference. And, that's so what exactly is it that men want from the women that are from other cultures, and what can women do here differently? Uh, Once she's been here for a few years, if she's still a great honorable wife and treats him great, that's great. But a lot of those women turn around and take things from him too. It's like it is really scary for men and women alike. Hey Tim, lady, have you seen me in chat at all? I'm sorry I didn't look at the chat hardly at all. I did see you. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to him. I did see you and I meant to say hi and I'm like so all over the place. I need to get back in my groove going live. I hate saying that word. Say more some more things that are racist on social media. Didn't you say that social media is to blame for the world's problems? I think that the conditioning that has happened to brains, specifically female brains, from the dopamine rushes from likes and like, it's the most common way to cheat. It's like Facebook. Yeah, I think it is the cause of most of the world's I do. For most of the society's problems. The internet, okay, 1999 is when the marriage rate started falling and kept falling. And that's, like, when most of us started fucking with the internet a lot. And I do think adult media is warping men's brains in the same way as the social media is warping females' brains. It literally changes neural pathways. You create a dopamine rush to the same stimuli over and over, you literally rewire your brain. But the good thing about that is that you can rewire it back. Like, you can undo that damage if you're aware of it, but you can't if you aren't even aware of that. And, but yeah. I'm sorry, Tim. Yeah, I definitely wasn't ignoring you. It's just like it's trying so hard to stick to the top. And like I'm still mad that I forgot what I was gonna end it on. Problem with marriage today is it's too hard to find a good conservative woman, Chris said. And it's not impossible. I know it seems to be hard. That's why I love Kentucky so much. I feel like we're like stuck back in time in a good way. It's like there's certain towns in Kentucky you literally feel like you're still in the 90s, and I think that's a good thing. We need to go back in certain ways, and like it's more family oriented. Like people are just like focusing on surviving. Um, I would love to like not have to ever be an assertive mama bear and always just be in my feminine. But that's just not the way this world is. And it's important. Um, like I find myself a lot, it's like, I just you just always have to be so mindful of like who you're taking what out on. And I think that too many women are too hey Yoder, I was getting ready to go. Too many women are too socialized to think it's okay to be what would be considered abusive to the man. And it's okay to them because they were socialized. You're just being a woman. You're just being a bitch. It's okay to be a bitch, right? But like if the man did it to you, so that's why I don't like this gender role stuff. It should always be reverse the roles. If that happened to you, if you want your spouse to do something for you, do that for your spouse. If you think, oh, why isn't he doing this? Do you do it for him? That was what made me the best spouse possible when I was like in my mid 20s, late 20s, and I was like, we were in a bad spot. And I'm like, all the stuff I want him to do, I don't do any of it. Maybe if I did some of that, I would get some of it back. And guess what happened? Okay, Jay Hardy. I really appreciate all of you guys. Yoder had a wiener roast. It was late. It's simple, obey God and keep his commandments, Luke said. Well, yes, if you're religious, I'm completely in agreement that having faith is good. I know that you haven't been ignoring me, you've just been busy. Yes, Tim, I'm glad that you see that. Tim, are you a member? Um, Gonna have a members only live tomorrow. I'm not trying to get anybody to buy a membership, but I really want to start building up my members only. And anybody who is a member, let me know like any specific time that's better for you if you want to make it. No, women are way more influenced by social media. Many studies on this subject, Nathan said. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, Nathan. But I'm not trying to like say you're wrong necessarily, but I do think the adult media probably affects a lot of men a lot more negatively. It's giving teenagers erectile dysfunction. Enough said. That's where I'm going from with that. Like it is harmful. It's setting up men from childhood and women. Women indulge in that like written erotica stuff, which I denied. I was like, no, women don't read that smut. And then when I was like, okay, actually, it is a thing. Like I can admit when I'm wrong. I guess it is women are very into pornographic written material, and I think it's fucking goofy and weird. And I think it says a lot about how immature we are and how far we have fallen. Honestly, I'm sorry, that's weird to me. What is going on? Why can't you cultivate those thoughts? Like we can just do eh, anything in real life is better than written words. You know what I mean? And so like that just says a lot about how disconnected and disassociated a lot of women are with their own bodies and their own intimate partner. And it's a problem. I am not in Louisville. I'm from Louisville. I was born in Louisville. Read the book Necessary Illusions. Okay, Nathan, I took a screenshot of that. I hope I can find that book for free. I appreciate all book recommendations. Oh my gosh, you guys don't want to know what I had for dinner. I had the worst dinner ever. You want to know what we ate for dinner? I feel ashamed. Me and my 8-year-old. It was just us two tonight. Totino's pizza. Horrible mom. Totino's. He ate like almost a whole pizza. You know, those things are so small anymore. They're like literally like 8 by 6. How everything's shrunk. Noam Chomsky wrote it. Okay, Nathan, that's cool. I'll definitely want to read it then. Um, oh, are you talking about high schools in Louisville, RS, Sacred Heart or Assumption? I didn't go. I'm not what's her face, Jennifer Lawrence. Isn't that like where she went to one of those schools? But anyways, it was fun talking to you guys. I feel like I did kind of crappy version of this. Like I might redo this. But I do think it's a good place to start saying that men have built all of society, which I'm not denying, but that therefore they can take it all away, or that like the accolades women earn in their own lives aren't worth as much because of what men have done. That doesn't make any sense to me. Couldn't you say the same thing about men? Any man going to school to get a higher earning education degree, couldn't you say the same thing? Well, he wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for like the hardworking men. And like I've said so much. I worked in a factory for 18 months. I just stopped working and went back to being a stay-at-home mom recently. I appreciate blue collar workers so much, and I really do feel like they're overlooked. And that is part of the problem. That is part of the male loneliness epidemic. That's part of why so many people are throwing their hands up and just not trying anymore. And like, I don't blame them. When you have nothing to work for, why would you keep working really hard? Why would you break your back for literally nothing and nobody? Like, and this is a problem. I do understand why men are like, women should be, but I don't like it being pointed at me like, we caused this. It's, I'm going to end it. It's the oligarchs, the elite, most wealthy people that look at us all as peasants that are like laughing at us. Like I look at them like, like we're like in a flea circus to them or something. We're like ants in an ant hill. And they're like, ha ha ha, look, we're making them all fight again. And they all know what's up. They all know, the inherent value women have, and they all know the complementary nature of men and women. They do, they get it. Not saying that they're not the most corrupted individuals on the planet and they have like great relationships themselves, but they understand. I really do think that they do. Working in factories make or break you for real, George said. Yes, and I will. I already feel bad about saying that thing about like, yeah, they're okay. Like working with a bunch of men, and then like the women. Like I will, like the younger people. Like there's good workers and bad workers, right? Men and women. Period. In my opinion, there were more mindful female workers. And guess what? The male workers who were the really hard workers, they made up for so much of the poor work from the men that cut corners, wanted to just like throw screws at each other all night long, cause more mess for the rest of us to pick up later. Oh no, wait, they don't sweep. They just take an air gun and blow everything around for somebody else to sweep up. That's the kind of shit they do. And it's like, but we're getting shit on for it, okay? It's not just the oligarchs ruling over us, it's the lazy men not pulling their weight. And then like, but those they never get the finger pointed at them like, what the fuck is going on? And I don't mean to say like, oh my God, not pulling their weight is, I need to go. There's men that sincerely can't help it. Depression is real. I just feel like people need to help each other now. Women avoiding accountability, Namu said. Yeah, I knew somebody was gonna say that. I think that the people who scream women avoid accountability are the ones avoiding accountability the most, for anybody. Jay Hardy said, "We did it for a woman." Um, thank you, Jay Hardy. You got time to lean, you got time to clean, Tyler said. Oh, that's so funny. That's probably why he cheated on you with the other girl who didn't complain. Oh boy, men screwing around in a factory. No way. But but yeah, there's several subjects that this can branch off into. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Can you please elaborate on how Hispanic children annoy you at Walmart? It's not the children that annoy me, it's the parents who don't rein their children in and have more kids than they can take care of. I'm 25% Hispanic myself. I know that doesn't mean that you can't be racist just because you are. I would say that about any group of people that did this on a regular basis. And they're taking their kids to the school system. Half of the kids in the school system don't speak English, and they're thinking about dividing it 50-50 because these people, I look down on that. I do. I think you're not a good person if you take your child to a completely different country and you don't give a shit about them being able to communicate with their educators and their peers. I don't think that's right. I'm not racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. Anybody who's watched me for any amount of time knows that Shiloh Hendricks bitch yelled at that black boy on that playground. I was appalled at the way white people talked about that. I'm glad that woman's going to jail. I hate racist people. I know I'm not a racist person. I don't look at somebody and automatically assume something about them because of the color of their skin. I wouldn't look at a Hispanic person and automatically assume they let their children run rampant at Walmart. It's just that I've experienced it. I'm not kidding, literally hundreds of times. And I know it's just like drivers from Ohio, okay? People from Ohio tend to not be great drivers. I have experienced it so much as a Kentuckian. As soon as I see that Ohio plate, guys, that red and blue, I get away. Seriously, I do everything I can to get away. I've had so many bad experiences with Ohio drivers. It's anecdotal evidence. It's just, it is what it is. And then I see this news story that's like, Ohio drivers stop stopping in the highway. Too many people stop when they miss an exit. They literally stop in the middle of the highway to get off on the exit. This was a news story, and I'm like, it was affirming. I know I'm not alone in my despise for see, there's a time when you've been on live for too long and you're ranting too much. Billy Clancy, how are you, Billy? I've been on here a long time and I was going, but I want to know how you're doing, Billy. Idaho drivers are the absolute worst, Jay Hardy said. Okay, see, I've never had to live anywhere near Idaho, but oh, raise your voice for them, free Palestine, Sumaya said. I definitely pray. I do think that prayer, I think thoughts and prayers are powerful. We're energetic beings that are like walking batteries. So, like, I do pray, but I just feel like you went for 4 walks today, Tim? That's amazing. That makes me happy. Was the weather really nice where you are, Tim? Because it was good here. That is what helps me the most. And there's getting the dirt like on my fingers, there's something people don't talk about that. I think that's what's so great about gardening. It's the same energy you connect with when you ground yourself being barefoot. Okay. Move to Texas. Oh, I don't think I'll ever leave Kentucky. I look AI generated. Look at would I have those wrinkles on my forehead if I was AI generated? I don't know. Maybe I would. 79 degrees. Yeah, I think it was about that here. Um, had 3 comments and review, Yoder, why I missed it. You're racist. It's okay. We all are. I don't care what anyone says. Are you from the South or East? Well, I'm from Kentucky. So this is what I always say. Racism is looking at somebody and thinking something differently about them because of the color of their skin. That's my definition for racism. It's like subjective to different people, right? And I really don't believe that I do that. No. But you can make judgments about groups of people that happen to share the same race that are true sometimes, right? White people don't season their food. Like, um, I over season my food. My eyes are green. Wait, does your uncle own Kentucky Fried Chicken? Yeah, Bertha is. Did somebody see Bertha? Okay. I didn't see Billy say, oh, Billy said, I'm doing good. Good, Billy. I don't know if you remember, I'm going to start doing members only lives on Mondays. Um, I think the members are $1. Are they two? It's no more than $2 a month. But I promised all the people that are members, I'm going to start doing more members lives. We're going to start doing more. streamline content. Like, of course, I'm all over the place still when it comes to the social, cultural issues, but I really want to talk more about like land ownership, self-sustainability, permaculture practices. Like, I'm starting a new pile of compost in a big black garbage bag I got from the dollar store and like trying different things like that. Like, trying cheap ways to practice permaculture, basically. Billy said, "Lydia, you're a very beautiful woman. Hey, I could not make an image that beautiful." Billy, Billy, stop. Thank you. That's so sweet, Billy. On that note, I do some comments I understand and some confuse the crud out of me, Mr. Carey. I know what you mean. It is a woman who was encouraged to have plastic surgery in my youth. I'm so glad that I didn't have it. I went to an ENT for my ears, my eardrums busting. And he said, I can fix that bump on your nose. Like this is that's what pretty privilege will get you. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to toot my own horn, but like in a certain like I don't believe he would have said that to me if he didn't think I was a certain amount of attract. You know what I mean? That's what you get when you're just pretty enough for people to like think you're pretty. They're also gonna like point out every flaw and bring you down. And it's like now I'm like I really do and I want that for every woman. I really do like I see my ancestors when I look at myself. I see my grandma. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that like if you have the perspective that like you are here because so many people came before you and sacrificed, men and women, soldiers in war, women in childbirth, like little kids who didn't get to make it to their 5th birthday. You live in honor of all of those sacrifices right now here on this earth. And oh, this is what I was going to say. I'm so glad I remembered it. It's about stoicism. And we could all learn, like, it's just like, if you have the perspective, we're all going to die one day. If you're super, I get it, girl, I get it. You're mad at your husband. Think about how one day is going to be the last time one time is going to be the last time you'll be able to be mad at him. One day is gonna be the last embrace. Will you know that? What would you do if it was the last time you saw somebody? And what would you like to leave them with? What kind of world would it be if we all walked around treating each other like that? Like, we all have to die one day. We are all born alone, and we all die alone, essentially, and that's, scary. Like, we can at least be there for each other, like, while we're here and not make life even harder. And just, like, be hateful towards each other. Um, oh, thank you, Larry, that's so sweet. I appreciate all of you guys. You watch some of my old videos and like them. Thank you, Mr. Carey, that's so sweet. I definitely have showed I can do better edited videos. It's so hard for me to edit on my phone. I need to get back to a computer soon. Like I keep saying, by the end of the year, I'll be back on a computer. I appreciate all of you guys. This was like a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. Nathan had some good input. Anybody ever watching on the replay also wants to like make a point. Like I really appreciate all dialogue, especially from different perspectives. Like we can't grow if we are open to other people's opinions, whether or not you agree with them. So everybody is welcome here. Absolutely everybody. Hurt people, even when you like lash out. I really like I feel like we all like need each other and just need to be there for each other. That's always my thoughts when my husband leaves for work in the morning and the last I always say I love you when he leaves and before I sleep. Yeah, Yoda. Yes, you know what it's like to lose. So Nathan, I'm honored by your sub. I mean that. I appreciate all of you guys. And let's keep this going. Once again, I think Nathan's sub proves it. I'm not a misandrist. I don't hate men. It's quite the opposite. I love all people. I love men and I see their potential. And it kills me that there's so many men that aren't going to reach their full potential. It's not really to their to no it's not to no fault of their own. I mean, to no fault of their this whole society, this if you were born in the last 20 years, like, oh my and my children, like, I feel so bad I had children. I never thought I'd say that. I thought people that were like, this world is so messed up to have kids. I don't want to have babies. Like 10 years ago, I'm like, oh, that's such a like a horrible way to think. And now that is how I feel about it now. And I really want to be a grandma. I want to turn this ship around. I want grandbabies. I want this world to be worthy of my grandbabies. I want When I see a good woman, I pray for a woman like that to enter my son's lives. I think every day about the kind of woman I want my sons to meet. Like, I get it. There's so many horrible women out there. There's so many horrible people. And, like, what are we gonna do about it? What can we do about it? Um, Brainless me, how many subscribers do you need to go? I think it's 100 to go live. That's what it used to be. It changes all the time. You need to Google it and like put 2025. How many subscribers do I need on YouTube to go live 2025? Oh, thank you, Wilmer. Billy, I know what you're saying about Ohio, the license plate. I tend to move over away from them. When I'm on the interstate here in Pennsylvania, we have to deal with people from Cleveland and Youngstown. Okay. You can Oh my gosh, like, somebody who lived in Louisville, I got used to I mean, I'm not just saying it to be cute, the worst, it was always people doing the craziest stuff, like, literally, like, cutting across 4 lanes at once and stuff. Like, I was not surprised when I saw that news story that was like, Ohio drivers, they were, like, putting out a PSA, "Stop stopping at the exits." Like, if you missed your exit, you need to go on and go I think it's something in the groundwater. It's the freaking proving grounds. It's this we've got so much waste we don't know what to do with. We put it in barrels and we bury it underground. Sayonara, see you later. And then we wonder why like people's groundwater, we're like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so horrible. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. I'm not. I'm so horrible at saying I'm gonna leave and then I don't. And that's also something I want to work on because when I listen to my stuff, I'm like, that is so horrible. I don't listen to any YouTuber that's like, I'm gonna leave, and then they don't for 20 minutes. And I'm sorry. We're all growing together. I appreciate you guys. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, Tyler said. Nathan, you won me over in the end, so good for you. Thanks, Nathan. Hi AJ and everybody. Free Palestine. Love you too, Sound Scroll. There's so much. Okay, I'm gonna end it on this. I think about this picture where there's a bird of like bird of prey. There's a starving boy on the ground, and there's like a vulture sitting there waiting for him to die, or you're just hoping he's gonna wait for him to die. And anytime I'm having a bad day, I'm like, whatever I have to say about my life, at least I'm not that starving little African boy with a animal waiting to hopefully wait until I pass to eat me because I didn't have enough food to eat for so long. Like there's always worse. And like I know I like then I say that I'm like, I don't want to make anybody feel worse about themselves. But like I do think that that's can be helpful to a lot of people. If that's not helpful to you, I'm sincerely sorry. I hope you find something that is. I love women, Gary said. That's nice. Um, I I definitely I guess I would say I support Palestine. Yeah. I don't support what the no country is doing. I don't support the genocide that is going on. And yeah, they're like making laws against like boycotting stuff. Like this is America. If it's not obvious what is going on and what happened to Charlie Kirk, if it hasn't been made very apparent and obvious to you what is going on, like I really sincerely hope that something wakes you up soon. And there's nothing really anybody can do about it but be more self-sustainable, vote with your dollar every way you can. Love you guys. I really appreciate you so much. I'll see you tomorrow if you're a member. If not, I'm gonna try to do like regular. I really want to try to do regular Sunday streams. So keep that in mind. Don't support any human beings harming other human beings, Mr. Carey said. That is a very good way to say it. Same here. Peter Perez, you too have a good week. Love you guys. Bye.